One when all of humanity got pulled into the survival galaxy in a single heartbeat. Every person on Earth woke up as the owner of a single ship, and most got warships. Others pulled research vessels, mining ships, cargo haulers, or colony arcs, but Minjin got a rusty, leaking escape pod barely bigger than a camper van with a cracked window. And an oxygen alarm already screaming when he opened his eyes. In the first 10 seconds, the galactic ranking published him dead last, and World Chat christened him the Scrap Lord. Meanwhile, a warship owner named Coalbreaker started a public broadcast, asking who in the region could spot the bottom of the rank board, but what none of them knew was that his rust arc hid an ancient evolution core under the deck plate. Suddenly, a private system called the Star Eye opened a panel only he could read. That core could absorb modules from any class, like warships, research, or mining. Carriers, colony ships, stealth units, or ancient relics, the entire galaxy. Laughed because his starting hand looked like complete trash, but by the end he will climb from dead last to command an ancient prototype vessel, rescuing 2 women from a deadly pirate ambush, drag them into his fleet, and push his ranking past the regional merger threshold. He will even enter a massive graveyard where ancient, dead warships from civilizations older than humanity wait under a sealed signal. But before any of that happens, he is still on the floor of the Rust Ark with 20 minutes of oxygen left, listening to a pirate named Choi Doi hail him on a private comm. Let us go back to the moment he woke. Cold deck plates pressed against his cheek, and the screaming oxygen alarm was so loud his teeth hurt. Red light pulsed across the cabin. Sync with a siren. Through a tiny viewport the size of a dinner plate, he could see stars, not that smog-stained Busausen sky. They were real, endless stars. The kind that tell you in one glance the cabin he woke in is small, and the dark outside is massive. He pushes up onto an elbow, head spinning. The cabin is barely 3 steps across. Maybe 4 if he dragged his feet. That is the entire space, scratched bare metal. Patched with welded plates that do not match each other line the walls. In the corner, a jury-rigged oxygen scrubber wheezes. Beside it, a storage locker hangs open with a crack running from its top corner down through the hinge. 1 emergency ration box sits inside, half its strap missing. Minjin sits up the rest of the way, and the siren cuts to a softer tone, almost as if the ship decided he is alive enough to talk to. Welcome to the survival galaxy, a voice says, not human yet not unfriendly, the flat, clear voice of a system that has done this a billion times today. Every passenger has been transported into a survival galaxy. From this moment, every passenger owns a spaceship. Survive or die. Their galactic ranking is visible to all passengers in the region and world. Chat is open. With the ship panel active, it wishes them luck, and the voice cuts. A pale green panel opens in the air, a hand's width from Minjin's face. Ship designation, Rust Ark. Class escape pod, subclass scrap, hull integrity 14%, engine 18% damaged. Oxygen generator leaking, projected failure in 6 hours, weapon mount empty. Shield generator none, cargo bay cracked, sealed at half capacity, fuel 12%, rations 1 emergency box, survival evaluation extremely poor. He reads the panel once, then reads it again. His hands stay very still on the deck plate. An engineering student, 22 years old. Through high school he worked weekends at his uncle's electronics repair shop in a back alley unit. Doors down from a noodle joint that closed before sunset. From those weekends he knows the feeling of looking at a busted device and figuring out which broken part is killing the others first. True triage. Hopeless looks one way, merely bad looks another, and the difference usually comes down to whether the patient stops bleeding. His rust arc is bleeding. Oxygen leaks out from somewhere he has not found yet. Fuel that won't get him anywhere worth going. A breach at 14% that will not survive a real impact. Absolutely no weapons. He closes the panel and stands up 3 quick steps to the viewport. The cracked window has a thin spiderweb fracture running across its lower third. Starry visibility, his brain notes, automatically will be reduced by that crack. Wait, Star Eye, where did that thought come from? Suddenly, the galactic ranking pings. A new panel slides in from the left, wider than his ship panel and brighter. The text scrolls names. Billions of names. Ship classes flicker past in a rapid vertical wash. Class 6. Battle cruiser up top, then a Class 4 research vessel, Class 2 corvette. Under it, the scroll slows. Top 100 resolves with names he doesn't recognize. And ship classes he has never seen outside a video game. Coil breaker. Class 4 heavy warship, Iron Vein, Class 5 capital cruiser, on, the panel. Jumps to the bottom rank, a single entry sits there in dim. Text Hanjin ship, Rust Arc, scrap grade, survival evaluation is extremely poor, rank. Last, dead last, not just locally, either we're talking the absolute bottom of. Billions. For a long moment, he looks at his name, then he notices the world. Chat panel has been blinking quietly under the ranking the whole time, and when he taps it open, the entire feed is already roaring. Coalbreaker has posted a public broadcast calling out to the region, asking if anyone can confirm whether the scrap lord at the bottom of the rank is real or if the system glitched. Attached is a scan of his Rust Arc with a survival evaluation circled. In red, the chat responds in a wave, confirmed real. What is that ship is? That even a ship looks like a metal can. Scrap lord it sticks. Somebody hand models a tiny cartoon escape pod with a sad face and uploads. It has a sticker. 10,000 people use the sticker within 30 seconds. Coil Breaker posts again, warning the owner of the Rust Arc, kindly do not die so quickly. The rank board needs a floor. Cruel laughter rolls through the chat. Someone calling themselves Bonecaster posts a polite question. Honest curiosity, what does a scrap grade escape pod even do? Run away. From itself, Vermilion answers under the thread with a single line. The pod is a target, not a ship. 2 pirate handles like the comment. Vermilion adds a follow-up to Troy Doyen's hailing channel, saying anybody at the bottom of the board is free salvage, and the pack should sweep the region for low rank pods before the day rotates. A handle named Quietwave, owning what the panel scan tags as a Class 3 mining hauler, posts a single line aimed at nobody. Mocking the floor only works until the floor remembers your address, just 2 seconds. Later, Quietwave deletes the post. The chat doesn't notice for another long beat. He watches the scroll. His face doesn't move. Mockery is nothing new. He spent a year in an engineering lab as the kid in the corner everyone forgot about until they needed the soldering iron heated. Mockery is. Noise itself does not kill. Oxygen leaks kill. Failing fuel gauges kill. Pirates kill, but what really kills in his experience is being interesting to the wrong person at the wrong time. The scrap lord handle is a gift for him, not for them. A walking joke gets ignored. Any bottom rank with no upward climb does not warrant a chase, so long as his rank stays still. He is scenery. The moment that rank moves, he is prey. His star eye and the core under the deck plate are his alone. World chat will never see them. He does not write back. The handle Coalbreaker goes into a mental file under loud and careless. Scrap lord goes into a file under public identity. Keep it. If the galaxy thinks he is garbage, they will not look again. Talk about the ultimate defense is its own armor past him. The chat scrolls on. An old pilot's handle comes up with a calm message to nobody in particular, anyone new in the region. Check your oxygen first. Your ship will not warn you twice. After him, a handle called Saltlight broadcasts an offer of nutrient paste at a fair rate, payment and fuel cells are whole plates. A miner named Dustline asks how to start the engine on a Class 5 mining pod, and 3 voices answer him before he can scroll past. Before he closes the panel, he scrolls one more screen. The old pilot answers a kid asking what counts as a safe distance from a known wreck. 3,000 kilometers minimum if the wreck is unscanned. The old voice writes half that if you have an active scanner array and the patience to use it. The reply gets 10 thumbs. Saltlight asks in a side thread whether anyone has seen an active medical vessel in the region because 2 of the panic posts are bleeding through with injury complaints. Nobody answers Saltlight directly. A name called Dustline pings him by accident with a generic broadcast. A finger fumbled on the wrong button, he thinks, and the broadcast says only, hello region, this is my first day, please be kind. 3 pirates immediately reply, mocking the politeness. Mentally, he files the old pilot handle under mentor grade and Saltlight under trader grade, while Dustline is filed under harmless and doomed unless somebody helps him. He closes world chat. The Rust Arc needs him more than the chat does. He walks the cabin just 3 steps across. At the back, a cabin door leading to what the panel calls a storage compartment, but is really a closet with a leak. On the port side, an engine bay behind a panel that does not close all the way. The starboard wall holds the oxygen scrubber bolted in front of the cracked viewport. The pilot seat, that is everything, crouching by the scrubber. First he listens. The unit hums unevenly. With his thumbnail he works the access plate loose because no toolkit is visible. The intake filter is half clogged with what looks like rust flakes from the ship's own ducting. Inside, the pump's bearing is dry. He rubs the filter clean against his sleeve and slots it. Back, it hums a little, but not enough. The bearing goes into his mental file as next priority. Engine bay is next. With one tug, the access panel pops free. Inside is an ugly little engine, a two-coil thrust unit badly aligned with it. Safety pin bent half across its throttle linkage, so the engine cannot push past 40% without snapping the pin. Somebody designed this engine to never run hot. Probably for fuel conservation in a long, sleek capsule. Now it just throttles itself. He pulls the bent pin out, holding it in his palm. If he bypasses the pin, he gets full throttle is possible, but with zero protection against coil burnout. By careful bypassing, the engine can reach 60% before cooking completely. He notes this down. Leaning back from the machine, he looks at his palms. Black grease already lines the creases, alongside 2 fresh scratches on his right hand. The superficial wounds came from forcing the panel. The grease leaks from a coil. A poorly applied seal from some amateur hand who originally built this junker. It smells cheap, sour, and dry. His uncle would have flatly refused to stamp his name on such an engine. The person who sleeved this pin used the wrong gauge wire to bind the linkage. It is purely amateur work. This rust arc was not built for him, but for someone trusted even less. He checks the storage closet next. A crack there is wider than his finger. Freezing air sucks through the gap in a thin, steady whisper. This damaged storage space is basically a breach to the void. Beyond that wall lies open space, slowly venting the vessel dry. He grabs a roll of hull tape from the emergency kit near the door, slapping 2 layers over the breach. The whispering air slows down but does not stop. That crack goes into his top 3 problems. He brushes against a decorative panel, and 3 faint indicator lights flicker to life. The scanner array is offline. The comm transceiver runs low band only, with the active distress beacon disabled. His finger hovers over the switch. Pressing it would instantly broadcast his location to every passenger around, the coil breakers, the vermilions, the whole pack. He keeps the distress beacon firmly disabled, silently thanking the vessel's prior owner. They had the sense to kill the transmission system before he ever got the keys. The offline scanner joins the list under engine repairs and leaks. Sitting down in the pilot seat, he finds the fit is terribly awkward. The original passenger of this scrap ship must have been much taller and thinner than him. The harness is set for someone with higher collarbones. He unclips the straps and adjusts them by feel until the harness clicks. The cramped cabin suddenly feels like his own. He sits back thinking. Look at this absolute junker. No weapons, leaking air and bleeding fuel constantly. The harsh universe has marked him as a walking corpse. He is not angry nor is he afraid, just focused. His uncle used to say that when a dead device comes in, do not just start fixing the broken parts. Instead, find what is still alive and build up from there. So what remains functional here? The oxygen scrubber still runs at half power. With a bypass, the engine runs, and the cracked viewport still holds pressure. The tape is holding. He has not found the scanner, but sensors exist. The pilot seat will keep him secure at maximum thrust. His hands work. His mind works too. The system that dragged him into this survival galaxy gifted him an honest piece of garbage. At least this vessel is not lying to him, which is more than he can say for most. He stands. He rests his hand against the cold, cracked viewport, gazing into the dark. Real stars do not twinkle like in the movies. They just stare back. Some are incredibly distant, others close, but from inside a leaking pod with 14% hull damage, he cannot tell the difference between himself and any. Those points of light are a vacuum that will drain his lungs in 11 seconds if a seal breaks. He knows the 11-second warning by heart. It brings no comfort, only numbers. Numbers are far easier to process than cold, paralyzing fear. Suddenly, he feels it. His palm is braced against the deck plate as he struggles to stand. The metal vibrates. This is no engine rumble. The main engines are completely dead. It is not the scrubber either. That machine sits across the cabin. This particular hum vibrates from deep inside the deck itself. It is a unique frequency that matches absolutely nothing on his control panel. He lifts his hand, the humming instantly stops. He presses his palm down and it restarts. The ship monitor said nothing about a hum. Even the galactic rankings never mentioned this. Absolutely no public guide inside this cramped cabin explains what this sensation is. He presses both of his palms flat against the steel. the vibration shoots straight up his arms. Suddenly, a soft, pale blue interface screen blinks to life directly above his hands. This screen is not green like his standard console, nor white like the rankings. It looks nothing like the familiar, warm color of the public world chat channel. Instead, it is a pale blue framed in faint starlight, completely lacking header text. There is no loud chime or system's banner. The screen simply waits for his attention. As he watches, a single line of text slowly materializes, like an incoming message. The text reads, "Star System initializing. Welcome survivor who needs me most." He sits perfectly still. A second line appears, awaiting host confirmation. For a brief moment, he hesitates, wouldn't you? The system has been nothing but cruel. The cosmic system that abducted humanity gave him a vessel designed to fail. Then it broadcast his struggles to the entire galaxy, but this new panel is different. No one else seems to have this option. Whether it is a trap or a gift is up to him. Rejecting this hidden lifeline gets him absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, chat windows are full of laughter. Rivals are busy boasting, while the fuel gauge keeps steadily dropping. Sitting idle only guarantees him 5 hours of oxygen and 0 options. Behind him, the annoying oxygen alarm has finally gone dead silent. Off to the side, the world chat panel is still scrolling with endless mockery. His name remains dead last among billions on the grand leaderboard. Outside the shattered window, cold stars stare back. Inside, only he and the screen remain. Keeping his hands firmly on the deck, he speaks in a quiet whisper. He says, "Confirm." The interface immediately registers his voice like a perfect key. It is silent, precise, and completely without drama. The screen updates. The next text reads, "Host bonded, Tier 1, welcome Hanminjun." A miniature map materializes beside the screen. Right now, it is completely blank. Only a faint ring around his vessel indicates his current visual range. New coordinates blink on the border. Scan range 1 to 2,000 kilometers from cabin. Focus is required. Power will grow through combat, salvage operations, and promotions. Right below the small radar map, a brand new submenu flashes into view. It detects a compatible ship substrate. Another line follows, ancient evolution core dormant. The current ship value is listed as trash, but the growth potential is limitless. Han Minjun stares at those words, a 22-year-old engineering student with greasy hands. A laughingstock on the world feed trapped in a broken pod, yet here he is. Metal floor under his fingers is actually hiding an ancient relic capable of limitless growth. Either the universe has a dark sense of humor, or his luck has finally turned. Honestly, someone owes him an apology, yet the quiet cabin around him does not change. Outside the cracked viewport, the stars stand dead still while world chat keeps scrolling. Coalbreaker keeps bragging while Troy Dohyun loads his freshly looted cargo. Straight into his pack ship, not a soul out there knows what just happened. Inside his pod, though, total silence. Good, Hanjin reads the star eye rules again. It requires line of sight and absolute focus, providing information only. It will not shoot, repair, or pilot the ship. It is a sensor and librarian, not a sword. Which is perfect. Information is his specialty. Back home, his uncle's workshop ran on it. Clients paid his uncle to examine dead technology and explain exactly why it failed. Knowing the problem did not fix the machine, but a correct diagnosis built a reputation. That reputation kept the shop busy and their stomachs full. Now, things are different. This massive galaxy Hanjin just woke up in is simply a much bigger shop. And here, knowledge will keep him alive. He takes a slow breath, letting silence settle. Before him, the pale blue panel pulses with a gentle, patient rhythm, very unusual. The public chat and rankings are incredibly loud because they desperately crave attention. But the Star Eye system remains dead quiet. It has absolutely nothing to prove. Its mysterious creator knew that a practical tool does not need to show off. This sharp contrast tells Hanjin a lot about the mind behind this technology. Now it is time for a quick calibration. He focuses on his own body. He zeroes in on himself, just like scanning a delicate circuit board back home. The screen updates. Hanjin, age 22. Health is fine, but hydration is falling. Calories are stable. His stress hormones, however, are elevated. Current skills: basic marine engineering and intermediate electronics repair. Also basic diagnostics. The standard public ship panel lists absolutely 0 talents. But a hidden talent is locked to him, the Star Eye host. To be honest, that basic marine engineering rating is extremely generous of the system. He once watched a simple pump repair and read a few textbook chapters. It seems the system rounded up his skills, and he certainly won't complain. Next, Hanjin shifts his focus to the nearby emergency ration box. The display scans it, sealed rations, enough for 72 hours of survival. The brand is completely unknown, but then a sudden notification pops up. A hidden compartment is detected on the small lower shelf of the box. A hidden compartment in a garbage pod. Clearly, someone wanted this to be found. Hanjin pulls the heavy box from the locker, its broken strap dangling in pieces. The lid clicks open, revealing 6 thick blocks of pale yellow nutrient cake, along with 4 water packets, 2 electrolyte tubes, and a small toolkit. This toolkit was never listed on the ship panel. He presses the hidden release. Suddenly, a thin tray slides out. Inside lies a single functioning fuel cell. Alongside it is a hand-stitched cloth patch with a strange logo and some paper. A folded paper has clean handwriting. It warns whoever opens the box. The engine bypass works at 62%, not 60. Do not push past 65, or the right coil will crack. This is advice from a previous pilot. Someone who knew this escape pod well enough to leave valuable engineering survival tips. This mysterious universe finally has his undivided attention in a way the mockery never could. He silently stares at the hand-stitched patch, wondering who could have left it behind. The logo is a stylized eye inside a ring of stars, with stitching far too neat for a casual maker. It is a symbol Minjun has never seen on Earth, whatever organization made this. Patch is not human, or at least not human as he knows it. The system panel goes completely still when he looks at the logo. No new lines appear. Then, after several seconds, a single line appears at the bottom of the screen and fades before he can even capture it. Recognition pending, insufficient data. He commits the image of the patch to memory and puts it back in the tray. Folding the note, he slips it into his chest pocket and places the fuel cell carefully in the engine bay. That cell alone bumps his fuel reading from 12 to 19%. The toolkit goes onto a clip by the engine. His system focus shifts to the cracked viewport. The panel reads, "Viewport transparent alloy, with manufacturer specs rating its current integrity at 61% due to fractures. Repair cost is 1 transparent alloy sheet. In 10 minutes of work using standard tools, there is a critical failure. Pressure limit, vacuum exposure is safe to 0.8 atmospheres above standard for this crack length. The viewport will hold under normal flight, but not under combat impact. The repair is simple, but the resource cost is real. Transparent alloy is not something the rust arc has lying around." He adds this to his mental file. Shifting his system focus, he looks outside the ship, through the cracked viewport. The galaxy opens before him. Wreckage drifts nearby at first, close in. Pieces of a broken transport hull, empty oxygen canisters, and a snapped antenna mast, tumbling end over end. None of it is large enough to matter. Past the wreck field about 400 kilometers off, a slow tumbling object resolves as in asteroid the size of a small building. Scanning it, he sees its iron and nickel composition. There are no rare metals or anomalies. A system note appears, asteroid. Danger is 0, salvage value low. Further out, his system vision stretches and slows. Range tightens at the edge of the sphere. Beyond 2,000 kilometers, the reading goes fuzzy. A handful of distant signatures sit at the boundary like fish glimpsed through deep water. The panel labels them as ship signatures of an unknown class. The scan's blocked at his current tier. The world chat behind him pings with a fresh batch of alerts. A user named Greylock broadcasts absolute panic. Oxygen at 5%, fuel cells dry, distress beacon active. He begs to trade anything. An old pilot answers calmly, giving coordinates of a wreck cluster 1,500 kilometers from Greylock's projected position, and walks him through the engine start procedure. The desperate plea dies out under that steady, calm voice. 2 minutes later, Greylock's signal vanishes from the public list. Quiet wave. The same user who posted that the floor remembers your address writes a single update. Greylock is gone. A handful of replies cycle through. Saltlight expresses sorrow in just 2 words. Bonechester posts a question about whether anyone has confirmed a respawn mechanic in this survival galaxy, and the thread fills with mocking laughter as a third player replies that the answer is no. You die and stay dead, welcoming everyone to the real game. The old pilot does not respond. The ship panel pulses a system note in the corner of the main display. Death count in the region during the first hour is 19,000. Across all regions, 68,000 are gone. Minjin reads those numbers and feels nothing dramatic, only slow tightening of his resolve. Of every 100 passengers who started today, 90 will be dead before the day rotates if this curve holds. His only job is to survive. On screen, Coalbreaker mocks everyone in the thread. Apparently, Greyark was not even fifth. From the absolute bottom, he posts, "The bottom is hungry today." For another beat, he just reads. Watching without typing, Han Men-jun is still pinned at the bottom. Rank board updates in slow batches, not instantly, so long as his rank stays frozen. The wolves will not hunt. While they are busy, he can salvage. With scrap he can climb, he just has to stay down long enough to grab one wreck, then climb before Coalbreaker even notices the floor has shifted. He pushes his star eye into a deeper sweep. His focus narrows completely. The pale blue panel hums under his palms like a tuned engine under throttle. Suddenly a new signature registers, 3,000 kilometers off. The faint scan barely catches it. Pushing the scanner harder, he locks the signal. The panel blinks to life. Abandoned mining wreck, Class 3 hauler decommissioned, hull breached, no living crew, no owner, danger rating F+, 2 damaged. Repair drones, 1 parasite nest low level, resources detected, iron. Alloy plates 6 sheets, 3 oxygen tanks, damaged mining laser. Repairable with onboard tools after a refit, 1 engine coil intact. 2 ration packs, 1 unread data core. He registers a strange energy signature consistent with a hidden module. The star eye adds a recommendation in faint text, like the system itself is uncertain. Suggested approach: kill the drones first. Drone joints are exposed, avoid the parasite nest, cut heating pipe. Power before passing, those bugs are heat sensitive. The cargo bay holds the data core. Rear cabin, salvage value is enough for 1 tier 1 fusion upgrade with his ancient evolution core. He sits in deep silence. With the screen 3,000 kilometers through rust, 19% fuel remaining, reaching the target takes roughly 6% of fuel, returning takes another 6. That leaves a tiny 7% margin. Talk about a massive gamble. The wreck is ownerless. Idiots in world chat are too busy laughing at him to scan their own backyards for fresh salvage. Coalbreaker is still yelling in chat, meaning his scanner is tuned to gossip, not drift fields. Choi Do Yun's pirate gang is 20,000 kilometers away, bragging about a cargo ship they captured, fat and slow on stolen rations. An old pilot helps panicking passengers while Saltlight trades nutrient paste. Nobody else has the patience to scan a quiet stretch of space at low throttle. He has the scanner tier he just unlocked. From under his junker deck, this wreck is his as long as he moves now. He shuts the star eye, the blue glow folds away, returning the cabin to its scratched, ordinary self. World chat is still scrolling. The leaderboard still shows his name at the floor. From outside the cracked viewport, the dark looks exactly as it did before. To anyone watching him, nothing has changed, but inside his chest, everything has. He takes the small tool kit from the ration box and clips it to his belt. Wrench, hull patches, and a flashlight without a battery. He checks them off. The flashlight is a hand crank model, a silent thank you to the previous owner. From the kit, he also pulls a thin emergency knife, a coiled length of cable, and a pressure patch dispenser, looping them all where his hands can easily find them. He slips into the pilot seat in the pitch dark, tightening his harness with one final click. He brings up the main ship panel and the star eye system in a split view, while the engine bay panel remains wide open right beside his left knee. A bent safety pin sits in his palm like a silent question, a half-second bypass. He rotates the pin, thinking of his uncle, who would have wrapped the linkage in the perfect wire gauge before even starting the engine. Poured some tea, sat down, so he decides to do it his uncle's way. He grabs the correct wire from the cable coil, 2 clean wraps. Tape goes over the wraps. The linkage finally holds steady at the new bypass position. Checking the throttle ceiling, the last owner's note said 62, but he sets his limit at 60, hand on the throttle. His eyes lock onto the star eye's projected route to the wreck. Outside the cracked viewport, 3,000 kilometers of empty black space wait with 2 damaged drones and a frozen parasite nest at the finish line. Behind him, the world chat keeps mocking his old name, Scrap Lord. Honestly, they have no idea who they are dealing with. The messages flood in. They tell him to write back, but he silently tells them not yet. Soon enough, let them laugh a little longer. Ignition, the rust arc's damaged. Engine sputters and catches on the second try. Coils whine around him. The cabin shudders. The Way an old delivery truck rattles before warming, throttle to 12% for a soft push out of the drift bubble, then up to 20 for cruise. The fuel gauge ticks down by fractions, 19% remaining, still good. The star eye projects a pale blue line across the viewport, course set. Estimated burn time is 1 hour 20. For over an hour, he has nothing to do but wonder if he is about to die. Still, there is plenty of time to use the star eye scanner. He runs the panel through a series of small calibration scans, acting like a mechanic. Warming up a borrowed wrench by tightening random bolts, he scans a hull plate near the engine bay, then his buckle, and finally the flashlight on his belt, which has 58% crank charge and a tiny hairline crack in the lens housing. Every small scan returns completely clean. The pale blue panel feels slightly brighter at the edges now, almost as if the system itself is warming up. Exercising a muscle, just past the cracked viewport, the closer asteroid field looms in his path. The system marks it at 1,000 kilometers. Packed with rocks between 4 and 40 meters wide, glittering with slow flashes of iron and copper, the system displays a moderate danger rating at his current scanner level, not deadly to a careful pilot, but lethal to a reckless one. The pale blue panel suggests an alternative route, arcing 10 degrees south of the dense cluster, adding 18 minutes to his burn. He takes the longer path. Fuel is plentiful, but time is short. Halfway there, the world chat pings again. A pirate named Vermilion broadcasts that any low rank ship near grid coordinate Sigma 12 is fair game for their pack, and any high rank ship helping them will be destroyed. This Vermilion is an ally of Croyan. He recalls that Sigma 12 is located 2 regions over from his current drift. Not his problem yet. The name goes into his mental file. Croydoi himself does not write directly, staying in his own bragging thread 20,000 kilometers away, where he is currently describing in detail how he looted a cargo ship by spoofing a distress signal, a classic trap, a fake call for help followed by a swift ambush. But this old pilot knows exactly how to handle players like him. With calm advice in the next thread, Salt Light offers a nutrient brick to the same passenger, and an old pilot writes a follow-up agreeing the price is fair. There is the beginning of a thin, honest market forming under the pirate noise. Worth watching around him. The rust arc holds steady, engine vibration smooths. Further, the bypass holds at 60% as the previous owner promised, hull at 14%, oxygen at 53% and dropping, fuel at 15, dropping slower. Starry projects the wreck arriving in scanner range proper in another 40 minutes. Then small low chime sounds, not from world chat, also not from the ship panel, from the star eye. A fresh line writes itself across the pale blue surface. Passive proximity scan detected, origin unknown, signature, range 3,500 kilometers west of current heading. Scan strength low, not directed at the rust arc. Somebody somewhere off by the port side sweeps their scanner across a wide arc, not aimed at him. Whoever is sweeping is not yet aware of him. The star eye logs the signature for later identification. Something out there is hunting through the same drift fields he is crossing. He keeps his throttle steady. Speed up now, and the sweeping scanner will see motion. Slow down, and he will arrive at the wreck after whoever else is hunting. Steady wins. His uncle's voice echoes in his head again. Steady wins more fights than fast. Swallow the joke, he tells himself one more time, then go get the wreck. Settling into his seat, he cracks open one nutrient brick and chews. Pale yellow, faintly sweet, the texture of old marzipan that someone froze and forgot. Not good, but edible. Across his forearm, he feels the engine's vibration smooth into something almost steady. World chat keeps laughing. Choi Do Hyen keeps bragging in a different thread. His name sits at the floor, outside the cracked viewport. The stars do not move. Inside, the pale blue star line points the way toward his first real climb. Swallow the joke, he tells himself, then go get the wreck. The cabin shudders harder than the engine warm-up promised. Throttle at 20%, and the deck plate vibrates up through his heels into his knees. Coils are running hotter than rated. The bypass holds, but it complains. From the engine bay, a thin metallic ticking starts, the sound of a coil seal expanding under pressure. His uncle's voice echoes in his head, ticking. His fine ringing is bad. Listen for the ring. Throttle drops to 16. The ticking thins. Burn time stretches, but the engine stops complaining. Star projected wreck arrival pushes out to 1 hour 45. Fine, steady, a long, quiet stretch. The quiet, he reviews everything he learned in the last hour. The rust arc Is junk dressed as junk, hiding an ancient evolution core under the deck. Plate, his private system star scans, identifies, recommends, and stays silent. In public, the galactic ranking is public, and the world chat is public, and Choi Do-hyun and Coilbreaker and Vermilion all use the public channels. To set their traps, whoever does not use the public channels is either dead like Greyark or invisible like him. Invisibility is definitely his best play right now. Stress hormone elevated, the star eye's earlier scan said. He notices his shoulders are locked. With effort he rolls them out. The pilot's seat creaks, the breath he lets out fogs faintly on the cracked viewport in front of him, then clears. Past the cracked viewport, the dark unfolds. Scattered debris drifts in his path, and he steers around the largest pieces, letting the smaller bits ping harmlessly against the rust-streaked nose of his pod. Each ping is a tiny reminder that the hull at 14% is the only thing keeping him from that 11-second death he refuses to think about. To pass the time, he runs star-eye scans on everything within view. Drifting cargo crate, its contents ruined by vacuum exposure, has nothing salvageable. Past that, a broken communications array torn from some larger ship floats by. Brass conduits are still intact. The salvage value is low but not zero. Further along, a frozen corpse in a sealed survival suit drifts. His panel reads it cautiously. Identification is unknown, origin ship unknown, suit oxygen depleted. The Star-Eye program does not judge the dead, it only analyzes the man as an object. He slowly drifts past. The regional chat starts populating as his drift carries him into a denser part of the wreckage spread. A few hundred ship signatures resolve at the very edge of the scanner. Range, most are lower-tier vessels, with just a few higher-tier ones. The chat scrolls with fresh messages. Coilbreaker is back on the public channel, posting a regional update. He writes, "Can anyone confirm a fresh wreck inside the inner debris arc? His scanner is active, but his class is built for combat, not detail. He will trade 2 combat-grade hull plates in exchange for verified coordinates of a Class 3 or better." Wreck. Half a dozen replies offer low-quality leads, but Coilbreaker dismisses them all with growing impatience. Our pilot reads every reply. He knows cannot scan a wreck at 3,000 kilometers through dust. That combat ship is loud and short-sighted. Useful information. An old pilot opens a comm general thread. Beneath the public mockery for any new passenger reading, the veteran survivor writes, "Your first day rules are simple. Check your oxygen, then check your fuel. Never broadcast coordinates unless you trust the receiver. Ignore distress signals coming from unverified handles. Avoid engaging pirates if they can be outrun, and avoid running if there is a place to hide. Eat half a ration brick at 4-hour intervals. Sleep only when the engine is cold and you are docked against something solid. Survive day 1, then we can talk about day 2. Replies quickly fill the space beneath his post. Handfuls of newcomers thank him, though a pirate mocks their politeness. The old pilot ignores the troll entirely, simply continuing to answer questions. As the thread grows, a user named Saltlight posts a trade offer in another channel, a 10-day supply of nutrient paste in exchange for 1 fuel cell and 3 hull plates. Saltlight notes she is in a fixed orbit, refusing to move for buyers. It is cash and carry or no deal. Saltlight runs a Class 2 colony pod with 2 surviving family members in the cabin. A public scan of her vessel adds a warning: anyone foolish enough to attack a colony pod with a family unit will have their bounty broadcast across the entire regional network. Honestly, that is incredibly smart. Suddenly, Dustline pings the region with another nervous message. He thinks he successfully started his engine, but his cabin is violently shaking. Asking if that is normal, 3 friendly voices reply. The old pilot writes, "A careful diagnostic and step-by-step procedure for testing throttle response." Dustline replies with a thanks. He sounds 12 years old. A user called Inkwell announces a Class 4 research vessel with full medical capabilities, asking if any newcomers near Grid Beta 7 need urgent medical aid. Immediately, a pirate offers a suspicious escort to a safe location. Yeah, right, Inkwell does not respond. A freshly created account named Marisong posts that she was bitten by something from her own ship storage, and her hand is going numb. The old pilot replies with compartment sealing instructions and tells Marisong to lock her cabin door and leave the bite area alone. The thread spirals into other voices offering varying levels of help. Some of them sound like genuine help, others sound like predators. He reads the texture of the Chat the way his uncle analyzed a broken device. What works, whose word is broken. Who is hiding, the galaxy is teaching him its first lesson without even trying. Old pilot. Is real, Saltlight is real. Inkwell might be real. Coalbreaker is loud, Vermilion. Is dangerous, Choi Doyeon is the loudest, and probably the most dangerous of the visible pirate handles. The bottom rank handle Scrap Lord is being ignored. Which is exactly what he wants. He does not write back. The Scrap Lord identity. Remains a corpse, public, mockable, harmless. A new ping from Choi Doyeon's handle, this time on the open regional chat, not a private channel, an announcement. The message reads, the pack just liquidated a Class 3 cargo hauler at Coordinate Sigma 9, Captain dead, 3 crew dead, full cargo bay relocated to. Pack ships, Vermilion confirms the haul, Coalfist confirms the haul, Bloodgrip confirms the haul, anyone with a low-rank ship within 5,000 kilometers of Sigma 9. Broadcast your coordinates and trade with us for safe passage. Pack rate is fair. For another long beat, he reads the post, not because the content surprises him, but because the tone does. Choi Doyeon is bragging in a friendly way. Pack rate is fair, yeah, right. He is dressing up a protection racket in soft words. Whoever responds to him is going to die polite. Sigma 9 is across the region from him. Several thousand kilometers off, but the technique he is using teaches him something. He is patient enough to soft pedal his demands, also dangerous enough to back them up. The next time he hears his voice, it won't be on the public thread. Vermilion replies under the post with a single line, pack rate is fair, says the line, do not test it. Under the public post, a curious thread blooms. A few low-rank ship handles ask Choi Doyeon what pack rate actually means. In plain numbers, he answers them in friendly soft text, 10% of any salvage haul larger than 2 cargo units, 20% of any wreck claim larger than Class 3, and free passage through pack-controlled grid sectors. Sounds reasonable too. Anyone too new to know better. Anyone who pays 10% once will pay 20% next time. And after that, all of it. Old pilot writes a single line under the Choi Doyeon thread, kindly clarifying that pack rate has historically risen between the first transaction and the second by an average factor of 3. Choi Doyeon deletes old pilot's reply within 10 seconds. Old pilot reposts it. Choi Doyeon deletes it again. By the third repost, a few low-rank handles have screenshotted the exchange, and the warning is loose in the chat. Honest weather, dirty weather. Both moving. Coalbreaker pings into Choi Doyeon's thread to half mock and half bargain, offering combat escort to pack rate paying clients for an additional 5% search charge. Choi Doyeon thanks him politely. The two of them are not allies, but they are not enemies either. Loud predators and loud bullies tend to sniff each other and back off. The prey they actually want is quieter than either of them. Mentally, Vermilion gets filed under Deputy Great Dangerous. Choi Doyeon stays under Pack Leader Dangerous, the two of them. That bad weather is still a region away. The closer threat is his immediate problem. He will deal with it when it arrives. Suddenly, a private DM pings. Sent anonymously, the message lands directly in Han Min-jun's private inbox. It has only 2 lines. An old voice addresses the scrap pod passenger, warning him not to reply. Reading this means having a scanner. Anyone who accidentally pinged the pilot in the last hour is now targeted. They accidentally pinged him while reading his survival thread. Now they are on his list. He asks for a single word reply if they want to be left alone. Both choices are respected. After reading, Han Min-jun realizes the old pilot is benign. The pilot's scanner merely caught him reading the thread. He is no threat, and Star Eye agrees. The system identifies his ship signature as a mid-tier, long-range scout. His fuel is high, weapons are weak, he is a veteran scout. He is likely an ex-military explorer, not a pirate. Han Min-jun stays silent. The Scrap Lord identity remains dead, keeping Han Min-jun completely anonymous in this sector. Still, he saves the contact info under a new label, potential mentor or future ally. He saves the old pilot's signature so that Star Eye will flag him in the future. If they ever cross paths again, he will know this stranger just offered selfless help. He wanted nothing in return, despite Han Min-jun being a bottom-ranked nobody. The galaxy is full of cutthroats, but it also has decent old-timers. Both types matter. Suddenly, oxygen levels drop down to 51%. He still hasn't located the leak. Star Eye runs another internal scan and flashes a warning. A microfracture has been detected. It is on the port wall, right behind a temporary tape patch in the storage closet. The tape reduces the leak by 60%, but he needs a permanent weld to survive. Without a welding kit on board, his quick patch is only buying him precious time, not safety. Luckily, the nearby mining wreck has both the welding tools and the plates he needs. Suddenly, that wreck isn't just a salvage prize, it's his absolute key to survival. He pulls another roll of tape from his utility belt and reinforces the damaged wall. Adding 2 more layers, the terrifying hiss of leaking air slowly fades to a whisper. He bought 30 more minutes, then Star Eye flashes a brand new warning. The wall crack is expanding, failure is a ticking clock. 6 hours under calm conditions, but barely 3 if he ends up in combat. He must reach the welding kit on the Iron Pilgrim within 4 hours or perish. Otherwise, the cabin will lose all pressure. This is his real, brutal countdown. The original 6-hour estimate was a lie. He actually has just 4 safe hours left. Before the damaged closet wall completely gives way and exposes him to the vacuum. It is plenty of time if the salvage run goes smoothly, but if not, complete catastrophe. His uncle used to say back at his shop that customers always lied. They lied about how long their devices had been broken just to get discounts. But out in deep space, the customer is the ship itself, and it lies constantly. It lies simply because it doesn't know it is broken. The panel promised 6 hours. In reality, the physical leak only allows 4. Which source do you actually trust? Han Min-jun chooses to trust his own eyes and measure the risk himself. Inside his chest pocket, the note from the ship's previous owner feels warm. The same person who wrote 62 instead of 60 about the engine probably knew. They likely knew about the wall fracture too, but ran out of time. Death found them before they could scribble down a second warning. The grim realization settles. He files the unpleasant data and approaches. The wreck appears on his primary scanner. A Class 3 mining hauler hangs in the dark ahead of him, half-rotated. Exposed conduits drift from its torn flank, rotating slowly along its own axis. The Star Eye runs a deeper scan at close range, updating the panel. A block of text confirms the wreck is the Iron Pilgrim, a Class 3 mining hauler. The hull is breached forward with no living crew on board. There is no claimed owner, and power emergency reserves sit at 4%. This is enough for basic lighting for 6 hours. 2 active threats patrol inside. Repair drones Alpha and Bravo are patrolling the central corridor right now. Drone Alpha has a damaged sensor, while its partner is completely intact. Drone Bravo remains combat capable. There is also a parasite nest nearby. These parasites are heat-sensitive, soft-bodied scavengers. They will quickly swarm any warm body. The system recommends cutting the heat. He needs to disable the heating pipes before getting close to them. He must approach the drones from their blind spots, targeting their weak joints. The target is the rear data core inside the cargo bay locker. He reviews the brief. The Star Eye knows this wreck better than anyone. It is terrifying but useful. He begins the delicate docking maneuver now. The damaged engine drops to 4% power. The worn coils begin to whine. They struggle at slow throttle, just like they did at high speeds. He drifts in slowly, watching the Iron Pilgrim's airlock door draw closer. The Star Eye lines up the docking ring overlay on the cracked viewport. His hand is steady on the controls. His uncle's voice remains quiet. The man never docked a spaceship, so there is no advice to give. Because out here, garage rules end where the vacuum begins. One mistake, and it is over. The docking ring connects, and the magnetic clamps instantly lock into place. Pressure climbs slowly before showing a green light. Star Eye confirms the lock. The seal is stable. It is time for him to go inside. He unstraps from the pilot's seat. The cramped cabin feels even smaller now. His tiny ship is dwarfed by the massive hull locked right against it. Through the cracked viewport, the Iron Pilgrim stretches off into the deep dark. Its scarred hull softly catches the dim light of distant, cold stars. He stands at the airlock, running through his plan one last time. The Class 3 mining hauler is massive compared to his own ship. It once held a crew of 6 and a massive mining laser. That laser mount was completely ripped away during the disaster that killed it. A long central corridor runs straight from the bow to the stern. Dangerous repair drones patrol that path, while parasites nest near the front. Past those threats, the rear cargo bay holds the valuable data core. His strategy is simple: enter the hatch and drop into the corridor. He will disable the blind drone first, before dealing with the other. Using cover, he can bypass the parasites by taking a side corridor. The engineering sub-corridor will lead him straight to his goal. He will crack the locked container, grab the core and secure oxygen. He intends to salvage every scrap of metal and gear he can manage. He needs that damaged mining laser, only 2 quick trips, 45 minutes maximum. If things go wrong, he has to retreat to the Rust Ark and escape. But if disaster strikes, running won't save him anyway. Talk about comforting, right? He quickly checks his belt, wrench, flashlight, knife, and cable coil, adding a small toolkit from his rations and a single full-wrapped nutrient brick. Tucked into his chest pocket near the previous owner's note, Star runs 1. Last scanning pass over the dead wreck, writing a final line on the screen. The system is ready. He takes a long, slow breath. The oxygen scrubber hums. The Rust Ark holds, hand on the airlock release. The inner door cycles open. Freezing air from the emergency reserve washes over him, feeling stale and metallic. The other side of the hatches. Dark, somewhere down the long corridor, 2 damaged drones are waiting, completely unaware of his presence. He steps into the wreck, the dark corridor yawning wide before him. Low-power emergency lights flicker on the floor in a soft amber glow, showing the scarred bulkheads. Up ahead, he spots a body in a torn pressure suit wedged against the wall 10 meters in. Star immediately marks the corpse as a frozen crew member. No threat. Past that body, deeper in the ship, 2 faint heat signatures are moving. It's Drone Alpha and Drone Bravo on patrol. Slowly he grips his wrench. The hunt has begun. It is freezing cold inside, a deep, biting cold from days in the vacuum of space where the metal walls have abandoned all warmth. His breath fogs. In front of him, despite the borrowed heat still lingering on his coat, Star projects a soft blue overlay across his field of vision, now ghost, marking the dead crew member, the ceiling conduits, and the heat outlines of the 2 drones waiting ahead. For a brief second, he stops to look at the frozen crew member, her hand still reaching for an emergency console that never turned on. Her suit's badge is completely unreadable. Her identification tag scraped clean during the disaster. Star quietly reads. Her profile: unknown crew member, frozen, cause of death was decompression. It happened 3 days ago, according to the system chronometer. 3 days. Whoever the dead crew was, they died before humanity even arrived. This survival galaxy, that means the system didn't just build these wrecks. For them, they were already floating here, breaking down and abandoned long ago. This wasn't some fresh start or a newly generated map. Think about that. We were just dropped into someone else's cosmic graveyard. He locks that terrifying realization deep down. Suddenly, his ancient evolution core under the deck plates makes both more and less sense. He creeps forward. 12 meters, the first drone drifts left, moving away along its marked patrol path with damaged sensors. The warning panel reminds him that targeting is highly limited. He crouches behind a warped bulkhead as Star highlights the power conduit running overhead. 6 meters ahead, a heavy insulated cable lies exposed at a damaged junction where the conduit has separated from its housing. If he severs it, the drone will drop dead. He uncoils the metal cable from his belt, tying it tightly around the heavy wrench. He flings the tool upward, the wire whipping wildly through the darkness. He pulls it across the exposed conduit. The cable falls back to his hand. With both hands he yanks. The cable saws across the conduit insulation. Sparks blow across the ceiling for half a second. Drone Alpha's running lights flicker, fade, and gutter out. Its movement stalls mid-turn. He crosses the corridor fast and low. Drone Alpha hangs at half power. Sensors dim, targeting offline. With his wrench, he cracks open the chassis cover at the seam. Star marks inside. A small cube of circuitry hums faintly. A targeting module. He pulls it free with 2 fingers and pockets it. The drone hangs inert. Star writes a small acknowledgement at the corner of his vision. Drone Alpha eliminated. Salvage. Targeting module tier 1. Chassis parts 6 units. Low-grade battery 1 unit. He strips the chassis fast. Targeting module pocketed. Chassis cover plates pried off and stacked beside the corridor wall for later carry. Battery clipped to his belt. The whole job takes 4 minutes. 1 down. Inspecting drone Alpha's chassis. As he strips it, he notices the manufacturer stamp. Faded but legible. A 6-pointed mark inside a circle of small dots. Not human. Also not familiar. The same alien pattern as the hand-stitched patch in the Rust Dark's ration box. Whoever made the Rust Ark also made these drones. The pattern repeats. Star Eye writes a soft line under his gaze. Manufacturer match confirmed across Rust Ark interior fittings. An Iron Pilgrim repair drone. Chassis origin unidentified. Recognition pending. So the previous Owner of the Rust Ark, whoever they were, came from the same civilization that built the Iron Pilgrim. 2 ships, 1 origin, both abandoned, both salvageable. The galaxy did not just drop them into a graveyard, it dropped them into a specific graveyard with specific ghosts whose attention he is now drawing. By stripping their things, he will worry about that later if he survives. Around the corner, Drone Bravo's heat signature drifts away from him. Star marks it as intact, combat capable, fitted with a laser welder mount that can double as a short-range cutting beam. A much tougher fight. Sneaking up from behind is his only option. Crouching, he moves along the wall, the pulse of the amber emergency. Light cycles slowly on for 3 seconds, off for 1. In the off cycle, the corridor goes pitch dark. He times his movement to the off cycles. Step, wait. Step, wait. 6 meters of corridor stand between him and the drone's tail. Drone Bravo turns. A sensor sweep crosses the wall right above his head. He freezes. Start. Right, sensor pass missed. Host concealed by bulkhead shadow. Drone Bravo continues patrol, moving closer just 3 meters away. Star marks a joint vulnerability at the drone's base where the chassis swivel meets the main body, a welded ring with a stress crack visible only at this angle, reachable with a wrench. Through a downward strike, he lunges, wrench raised high, striking down across the joint with everything in his shoulders. The wrench head connects with a metallic crunch. He feels the impact rattle up his elbow. The joint crack widens. Drone Bravo's chassis tilts, its targeting head swings toward him. The welder mount sparks orange. He throws himself flat. The beam cuts across the bulkhead where his chest had been. Behind him, the wall sears black. Blistering heat washes over him. Drone Bravo's broken joint cannot hold the head steady. The welder mount swings wide with the joint compromised. Drone Bravo loses fine targeting. He crawls forward under the ducking a swinging beam. He jams the wrench into the joint and twists hard. It snaps. The head crashes down. The welder goes completely dark. His breath is ragged, hands shaking. The wall behind him radiates intense heat. Star quietly logs the data. Drone Bravo is officially eliminated. The laser welder mount is intact, along with 6 chassis parts and 1 battery. The AI scans the loot, sending a wave of satisfaction he can almost feel. The salvaged laser welder mount is fully compatible with his ship. A standard refit will turn it into a short-range cutting beam. It is a low-grade defense, absolutely useless against a warship, of course. But in this dark graveyard, it is better than nothing. The dead owner's note in his pocket claimed the engine was 62, not 60. Even in death, that stranger is guiding him on utilizing this salvaged welder. Talk about an accidental inheritance. The second installment, he takes a breath. He pictures this laser welder mounted securely onto the Rust Ark's empty bay. It could slice right through a small pod, but heavy armor remains untouched. Against Cho Du-yun's scouts, this is only useful if he gets close. He must find their blind spot. He instructs Star to note that. Carefully, he pries the mount free, wrapping the cooling coils in makeshift insulation. He slips the delicate sensor cluster straight into his tactical belt pouch. Clipping the full battery alongside his spare, he stacks the chassis plates. By the time he finishes, his arms are burning and his coat is carbon-stained. 2 down, across the corridor, an emergency console suddenly boots to life. The ancient monitor boots up, responding weakly to the sudden shift in temperature. A flicker of text reveals a partial log from an old Iron Pilgrim vessel. The last log was dated 3 days ago, listing a crew of 6. Captain Marith, Navigator Dole, Engineers Yo and Tarn, a medic and security. The names are totally foreign, written in strange symbols that barely resemble Korean. Capturing the readout, Star adds a quiet note directly to his HUD. Language unrecognized, cross-reference pending, still the data is saved. The console dies, he lets it go, knowing their names will not save them. It won't save him either, yet he commits their names to memory anyway. Marith Dole, Siren Brel, this dead crew's legacy now rests with him. Now he has to keep moving before he joins them. Star redraws the map. Parasites still block the front, data core is at the rear, welding kit located. It is sitting in the engineering subquarter, just 3 meters off the main path. Retrieval will take 90 seconds with 0 danger. He decides to reroute. Spending 90 seconds now means securing a permanent fix for his ship later. It is much faster than dealing with the massive parasite nest nearby. He has to grab that welding kit first, before those things spot him. The engineering subquarter lies just beyond a half-closed, heavy-pressure door. Inside, a pristine emergency welding kit hangs untouched in its original seal. Right beside it are two clean oxygen filters and high-grade copper wire. He grabs all three, adding them to his heavy pile of salvage. Stepping back out, Star highlights the parasite nest 16 meters ahead. They are clustered around the front mount, squirming in a slow, heat-seeking pile. A sudden ripple heating pipe, the panel marks on a quarter ceiling 4 meters from his current position, cut power at the junction box and the heating pipe goes cold. The parasites will freeze. Reaching up with the wrench, he pries the junction box open. Inside, a single fat power lead runs to the heating pipe. He yanks the lead free. The pipe ticks once, twice, then stops. Within 30 seconds, the parasites slow. By 90 seconds, they hang motionless. Their nest, soft bodies stilled by cold. He walks past them without breathing hard. Star Eye marks one of the parasite bodies as larger than the others, a queen. Grade specimen with a soft mottled carapace and a curled tail, salvage. Value biological sample tier 2 if delivered to a research vessel medbay. He does not take her, not yet. Carrying a queen parasite in his belt would be a story he wants to tell Park Eugene later. Not now. Past the nest, the corridor opens onto the rear cargo bay. For a beat, he stops at the threshold. Inside the cargo bay, the temperature is even colder than the corridor. Frost coats the racked tanks in the wall plates. His breath fogs heavy now. With one hand, he steadies himself against the door frame and lets his eyes adjust to the deeper dark. Star Eye traces the room around him in pale blue lines. No additional threats. Power reading lower in here than anywhere else in the wreck, which means heat is leaching out somewhere unmonitored. That means there is probably another hull breach he should not be standing near for too long. Work fast. Inside, 3 oxygen tanks sit racked along the starboard wall. Each tank reads full at 100%. 6 hull plates lean against the port wall stamped with the Iron Pilgrim's crew logo, edges clean. A damaged mining laser hangs from a partially detached mount in the center of the bay. Beside it, a basic engine coil sits in a maintenance cradle, 2 ration packs sealed. Behind the maintenance cradle, a sealed locker. Star Eye lights up the locker. Data core sealed, a hidden module designation. Contents are unread but readable on contact. Energy signature consistent with cargo expansion unit tier 1. He crouches beside the locker. The lock is a standard maintenance lock, no security override needed. With the wrench, he works it open in 20 seconds. Inside, a single dense gray module the size of his fist sits in a foam cradle. Cargo expansion unit. The Star Eye reads it again at close range and writes a quiet confirmation. Compatibility with Rust Arc Ancient Evolution Core. Confirmed. Tier 1 fusion. Event possible. His heart lifts, hands steady. For one beat, he runs his thumb over the module's surface, cool to the touch, not exactly metal or plastic. Something denser than either, with a faint internal pulse he can feel through. His glove. Star Eye writes once more. Cargo expansion unit, tier 1 intact. Manufacturer mark consistent with prior matched origin, the same manufacturer. Again, whoever they were, they made cargo expansion units, repair drones. Escape pods, a whole logistics chain now scattered across the dark for him too. Harvest piece by piece, hard not to feel the strange weight of that. Civilization vanished. Its leftovers are about to make his survival possible. Inheritance through accident. He pockets the cargo expansion module against his chest, then begins the haul. First trip, 3 oxygen tanks lashed together with a strip of cable dragged behind him through the corridor, past the silent. He drags the salvage past the crewman's frozen body and the still parasite nest. Through the airlock and straight into the rust arc, the pod's tiny interior suddenly feels suffocatingly tight, with 3 giant oxygen tanks cluttering the floor. Second trip, he carries 6 hull plates in 2 bundles, alongside a basic engine coil. Tucked under his arm, 2 ration packs fill his belt pouch, the welding kit clipped to his back. Salvaged drones from both kills are slung in a bundle over his tired shoulder. By the time he reaches the airlock for the second time, his legs are trembling. Caught between the second and third trip, he pauses to check his rapid pulse. It is racing fast. His hands are caked in dark grease, knuckles scraped raw by a stubborn wrench. His sleeves are stiff with carbon, his coat scorched where the welder beam singed away an inch of fabric. The Star Eye scans his body, writing out a quiet warning. Stress elevated, calories dropping, hydration low. System suggests a brief rest after fusion, but he cannot stop now. Resting means making a 4th trip. Later, which means risking another, pass through the crumbling corridor under a shrinking microfracture timer. Here comes the hardest part. The damaged mining laser is heavy, roughly 40 kilograms in Earth gravity, though who knows in this dead ship's strange microgravity. The detached mount adds another 15. He rigs up a crude sling from the cable coil, bracing the laser against his shoulder. One step, then another. Through the corridor, past the silent drones and the frozen crewman's corpse. Halfway through, the star eye flashes a brand new warning. The hull microfractures are widening fast under the stress. Estimated time to total vacuum failure is 90 minutes. He forces himself to move faster, despite the heavy laser digging into his shoulder. He pushes through the corridor, through the airlock, into the Rust Ark's cabin. The heavy laser thuds onto the deck among the tanks, plates, and coils. By now, the cabin is packed wall-to-wall with random salvage. Walking is no longer possible. Crawling is his only option to reach the pilot seat. Over the messy pile, he crawls. Settling into the seat, he boots up the controls. Undocking procedure begins. The magnetic clamps release. Maneuvering thrusters fire at minimum power. The Rust Ark drifts slowly back from the wreck, with a small reluctance, as if it liked leaning against something bigger. Free at last. Looking through the cracked viewport, he watches the Pilgrim recede. It is half-rotated, its scarred flag catching distant starlight. The derelict looks surprisingly small from this angle, just like any place he barely survived looks smaller in the rearview mirror. Inside, the dead crewman remains. Frozen parasites still cling to their nest. An abandoned drone chassis lie split wide open on the floor. Anyone else scanning this wreck next will only see a picked-over hull with almost zero value left. Perfect. The real value is already with him. He bumps engines to 12%, setting a course into open space, avoiding any signature. His star eye scans. The engine coils begin to whine. On the low end, then steady. The microfracture timer ticks down to 85 minutes as he drifts to a quiet patch of dark 200 kilometers away. He cuts the engine and powers down the thrusters. The Rust Ark hangs silently in the absolute darkness. With salvage, Minjin is crouched on top of the pile, hands black with grease and carbon, coat smelling of burnt insulation. Star Eye writes one more line. The system confirms the salvage haul is ready for the fusion event. Han Minjin stares at the cargo expansion module resting against his chest, fists-sized, gray, completely silent. For a single quiet moment, he rests his hands on his knees and just breathes. Engine off. Cabin warm, no threats visible. His first real moment of stillness since waking on the cold deck. Already his body wants to shake. Adrenaline. Crash, the late-night kind that catches up after the danger has fully passed. He pulls a strip of foil ration brick from his pocket and begins chewing. Pale yellow. Faintly sweet, marzipan again. Bad calories, but fuel is fuel. World chat scrolls past. Quietly in the corner of his vision, Coil Breaker is still bragging about an upcoming wreck claim. Old pilot is still answering new passengers. Salt has sold 3 nutrient blocks since the run started. Choi Do-hyun has moved his pack 1 grid sector closer to Han Minjin's region. Dust Line is likely asleep since his thread has been quiet for an hour. Nothing in any of those messages suggests anyone knows he just stripped an entire mining hauler. His galactic ranking still reads last. Han Minjin is just a scrap lord at the very bottom for now. But that rank is about to change. Watch closely because things are shifting. Time to find out what this junk can actually do with an ancient evolution core. He clears space on the cabin floor, rolling 2 oxygen tanks aside. The seam in the deck plate where the star marked the ancient evolution core glows faintly when he brings the cargo expansion module close. Not bright, just a soft pulse like a heartbeat visible beneath the skin. Looking closely at the right angle, it seems this mysterious ancient evolution core actually recognizes the module. Kneeling, Han Minjin aligns the small gray piece against the seam. The module settles perfectly into place like a key. Around the seam, the deck plate ripples like water after a small stone touches the surface. Star Eye opens a glowing panel right above his hands, signaling the fusion event is ready. He looks at the module, the deck plate, and then at the cracked viewport, the broken storage closet, the patched microfractures, and the endless piles of salvage. Damaged mining laser lines against an oxygen tank, everything in. Look at this trash heap, truly hopeless, whatever this upgrade does. It cannot possibly make things worse. He clicks confirm. Instantly, the Rust Ark shudders violently. It is a massive, deep groan running from the nose of the pod up through the deck plate into his knees and along the bulkheads. Into the airlock, the cabin lights flicker wildly, Star Eye dims and brightens, the cargo. Expansion module sinks halfway into the deck plate, as if the metal is melting. Like honey under a warm sun, beneath the module, the seam widens as a pale blue. Line of light traces across the floor, splitting into branches that climb the bulkheads deep into the cracked storage closet and the open engine bay. The light even reaches the empty weapon mount as the entire cabin expands. 4. A long, agonizing second, Han Minjin cannot tell if his eyes are working. The walls do not physically push outward. Instead, the inside of the pod seems to remember. Being larger than before, unfolding itself like a piece of paper. Opening up panel by panel without anyone pulling at the corners. His uncle once described an old repair concept called shape memory, where metal naturally returns to its original rolled configuration when heat is applied. It is applied, whatever an ancient evolution cord does, it performs something like that. Only in 3 dimensions, using materials that really should not technically be. Showing shape memory at all, walls do not expand outward, instead, volume changes. The cracked storage closet at the back of the cabin lengthens by a third. Its inner crack seals itself shut as a metal plate from his salvage pile rises. Off the deck slides across the bay and welds itself flat against the inner wall. Oxygen tanks rise from the cabin floor and integrate themselves into the life support system, one by one, slotting into ports he had not noticed in the wall before. Each tank shrinks slightly as it fits its port, then locks, then disappears under a smooth seal. The cabin floor gains volume where there were once 3 steps across, now there are 5, damaged. Mining laser lifts itself off the oxygen tank it was leaning against. The weapon mount above the cracked viewport reaches down to meet it. Laser and mount click together. Star Eye writes a line. Mining laser integrated will require refit time of approximately 6 hours to reach full operational capacity. Currently functions at 12% for short-range cutting only. Welder mount from drone Bravo separately attaches itself to an auxiliary slot below the main weapon mount. Star Eye writes, welder mount, integrated secondary armament. Short-range cutting beam operational immediately. Basic engine coil slides itself into the engine bay. Star Eye writes, engine integrity restored, coil rating 60%, bypass holds at 68%, ceiling no longer at 62. Plates from the salvage pile sort themselves around the cabin like pieces of a puzzle finding their slots. The cracked viewport itself takes a thin transparent layer along its inner surface. Star Eye writes, viewport integrity 61%, reinforced to 88%, combat capable up to small arms impact. Within 40 seconds the cabin has reorganized itself. Cargo expansion module is no longer visible. The deck plate seam is no longer visible. Cracked storage is no longer cracked. Oxygen tanks have vanished into the wall. Salvage is gone, integrated. His cabin, 3 steps wide 10 minutes ago, is now 5 steps wide, slightly taller. Smelling faintly of fresh metal and quietly humming a frequency that is not the engine nor the scrubber nor the original deck plate hum, but a deeper, steadier note underneath all 3. Star Eye writes a new panel. Rust arc post-fusion status. Hull integrity 28%, reinforced engine 30% repaired. Oxygen generator full, leak sealed, primary breach repaired, weapon power 12%, primary mining laser plus secondary welder mount installed, shield generator none. Cargo bay 40%, rations 3 units, survival evaluation poor. Upgraded from extremely poor. Poor is still his rating, but hey, progress is progress. Poor is not last. The galactic ranking pings. A new panel slides in. His name, Hanman Jun, jumps from the absolute floor of the rank board into the middle billions. Still terrible, no longer dead last. The scrap lord handle is still attached, but the survival evaluation tag is updated from extremely poor to poor, and the panel shows a small upward arrow next to his position. Small, that arrow, in a board of billions, even a small movement is visible. For a long beat, he sits with the new panel, 5 steps across, fresh metal smell, cabin humming a steady note. Engine repaired, hull reinforced, welder mount and primary laser both online. 3 ration packs and a sealed locker now appear where nothing stood before. Oxygen is full, the microfractures sealed. The pod that was once a total junker is no longer trash. It is still small, underarmed and undershielded, but it is no longer dying. Instead, it is living badly, which is basically the same as starting to live. Suddenly, world chat erupts. Coalbreaker is the first to notice. He broadcasts that the scrap lord just moved up The ranking board, did the system lag, or did someone die right in front of him? What is going on? A few replies confirm the shift. Inside that thread, a user named Bonecaster posts a screenshot of the rankings before and after. Echoing voices speculate. Some accuse him of cheating, others ask to trade. Few ask what caused the bump. Coalbreaker posts a regional follow-up. Can any combat grade scanner pick up the scrap lord's position? Anyone within 5,000 kilometers of grid 2-3 scan. He offers 2 hull plates for a confirmed visual of Rustark's current state. He shuts down his broadcast position, shifting 2 grid sectors away. An old pilot's earlier advice rings in his head. Do not broadcast your coordinates unless you trust the receiver completely. The auxiliary scanner array that woke when he brushed it earlier with his elbow comes online. Now post-fusion, letting him read the public broadcast filters in detail. With a careful tap, he drops his own broadcast tier from default visible to scanner. Only anyone who wants to find him must actively scan, not just listen. Salt direct messages him. Just seconds after his rank jumps, Salt lights handle pings his private inbox. Scrap Lord, the message reads, congratulations on the climb. Salt light here. Class 2 colony pod, fixed orbit, grid Delta 8. Offering a 10-day nutrient supply in exchange for verified coordinates of any ownerless wreck within 5,000 kilometers of your position. Discreet, no broadcast. Payment up front will respect a refusal. He reads the message twice. Salt light is real. The handle belongs to a softshell trader with family on board, someone who runs on reputation and never threatens, worth keeping as a contact. He files her message away for later. Not yet. Trading wreck coordinates. The same hour his rank jumps would draw a straight line from his movement to the Iron Pilgrim. Anyone smart enough to follow that line, Coalbreaker, for example, would arrive at the wreck, read the strip state, and walk the trajectory back to find him. Trading wreck coordinates is for after he has moved. Further, 3 more direct messages land in quick succession. One is from Inkwell, the research vessel from earlier, asking if he would consider a partnership on wreck salvage if he has the scanner tier his rank suggests. Polite, professional, the exact way an academic writes a cover letter. Another is from Greyflint, offering to buy any rare salvage at 20% above market rate. No questions asked. Greyflint shows up on the Star Eye as a mid-tier combat frigate. Subgrade pirate, friendly tone, hostile intent, easy to dismiss. The third message is from Coalbreaker himself, abandoning the public broadcast in favor of a private hail. 2 lines in the message. Scrap Lord, it reads, name a price for whatever you found. I have hull plates, fuel cells, and 3 combat grade scanner upgrades sitting in my cargo bay. Trade with me before someone with worse manners finds you. For another beat, he reads Coalbreaker's message. The handle mocking him publicly for hours is now privately offering to buy. This massive contrast tells him everything he needs to know. Public mockery is just cheap theater, simple crowd control. Private deals are where the real transactions happen. Coalbreaker is not stupid, just loud. He thinks noise keeps the competition away while he tries to muscle in on his cargo. Star Eye tags the offer as highly suspicious and probably bait. Either he plans to renege on the trade once coordinates are sent, or his combat grade scanner upgrades are not actually in his cargo bay. Maybe both. He ignores them all. Silence is currency here. Old pilot DMs him next. His message is a single sentence. Good work, kid. Stay quiet, move grids. Do not respond to broadcast scan requests if you want a contact list. Reply with 1 word. Otherwise, I respect your silence. He stares at the message for a beat. Old pilot is the second person to offer him help without expecting anything back. The first was the previous owner of the Rust Ark with the unique engine note and patched fuel. Sell 2 acts of goodwill in 2 hours is a much higher ratio than he is used to. The galaxy is not entirely hostile, worth remembering. He replies with 1 word, yes. Old pilot responds instantly. Contact saved. If you ever need a tactical read or a survival consult. Ping, I do not work for credits. The reason I work is because somebody helped me on my first day too. Stay quiet, move grids, watch for Cho Dihun's pack signature inside 2,000 kilometers of any wreck you scout. Pack ships have a distinct triple coil exhaust read. Star will catch them. He used that specific name. For a long moment, his hands freeze on the panel. Old pilot just used the name of his private system, not his console, nor some galactic ranking. Nothing about the standard scanner. Star Eye, exactly. Either he let it slip somewhere without Noticing or old pilot has a private system too, or maybe there is a third option. He does not yet understand 3 days of existence on the Iron Pilgrim, an alien manufacturer mark on the patch in his ration box, a previous owner of the Rust Ark who left notes, an ancient evolution core under his deck plate, then an old pilot who knows what to call his private system without being told. The galaxy is not a level playing field, pretty wild how secrets get around, some. Older than the system that pulled humanity in this morning, he files old. Pilot under priority contacts, trusting but verifying, then he closes the chat, a new private DM arrives. This handle is completely unfamiliar, and Star Eye reads it. As a small pirate scout ship hovering at the edge of his scanner range, the message is short. Scrap Lord demands, send us your last coordinate and the pack will skip you this rotation. No threat, just a courtesy. Reply within 5 minutes or the courtesy expires. 5 minutes is a soft countdown for a soft squeeze. He does not reply. Pack scouts trying to extort with friendly language are just reading from a script. His silence will read as either fear or absence. Either way, they will keep moving. The ship slips out of his scanner range 3 minutes later. Good to know their script in the public threads. Things are starting to shift. Dust Line pings the open chat with a panic broadcast. There is a pirate ship just outside his scanner range. He frantically asks what to do. The veteran pilot replies instantly with a route to a small asteroid cluster 3,000 kilometers from Dustline's position. There, his Class 5 mining pod can hide behind heavy iron and nickel masses to avoid passive scans. Dustline thanks him and runs. 2 minutes later, the veteran pilot pings him a private sidebar message. Kid, if you ever want to help a Dustline, send me a private route and I will route him through. The survival market is built on small mutual favors. Long before it builds itself on credits, he takes that advice to heart. The galaxy is a much bigger marketplace than his uncle's old shop, but the rules are not all that different. People who help each other for free are building something. Those who do not are simply stealing from what others built. On a long timeline, the builders win, the stealers die. On a short timeline, the stealers eat very well off the builders. His job is to survive. Then another ping. Star Eye reports an incoming passive scan. Detected. Origin is hostile with a reconfirmed triple coil exhaust. Range is 2,400 kilometers off, with an approach vector aligned with the Rust Ark. Estimated time to intercept is 20 minutes. It is the pirate Choi Du-hyun. Pack ship signature confirmed hostile. They are scanning his position from outside his current scanner range. Star Eye marks the lead ship as Choi Du-hyun's vessel. 2 additional triple coil signals sit 10 kilometers off the lead, 1 on each flank. A pack formation, 3 ships, all combat ready, all hostile and all closing in. A private comm chimes. No public broadcast, nothing through the regional chat. It is a direct ship-to-ship channel. It opens before he can even decline. Because his newly fused systems have not yet learned to filter hostile signatures on incoming hails. A voice comes through, clean, male, mid-20s and calm. Warm, the kind of warm that means the exact opposite of warm. Scrap Lord, the voice says. Choi Du-hyun here. I see you finally moved on the rank board. It is curious how a bottom rank pod jumps 3 positions in a single update window. Congratulations. By the way, most of the floor is genuinely dead by now. He does not speak. Star Eye writes a quiet text line under the voice. Caller Choi Du-hyun, mid-tier combat scout, modified crew, 3-pack formation, 2 flanking ships at a 10-kilometer spread, known rate offered to low-rank survivors. Escalating racket, high threat level. Choi Du-hyun continues, we should talk before someone less polite finds you first. This region is full of less polite handles. Vermilion, for example, coil breaker for another. Neither of them would offer you a conversation, but you have something my pack would like to know about, specifically how you climbed. Tell us that, and you keep what you climbed with, refuse, and we will figure it out the hard way. I am approaching with 2 pack ships, ETA 20 minutes. Have your answer ready. The private comm stays open as he waits for a reply. The fuel gauge reads 15%, mining laser at 12% operational. Welder mount online, short range only, no shields. Hull is at 28%, 3 ships incoming in 20 minutes. He stays silent, his hand resting on the panel beside the cracked viewport. 2,400 kilometers away, 3 triple coil exhaust signatures move in steady formation toward the Rust Ark. Star Eye writes 1 more line under the threat scan, scrolling slower this time, almost careful. Recommendation: is for the host not to respond. Avoid broadcasting position. The pack ships will arrive within scanner range of the Rust Arc in 18 minutes. Recommended. He begins preparations, refitting the mining laser to route power from the secondary welder mount, identifying the enemy's blind spots for engagement. Survival odds with current weapons are under 20%, even after refitting. Complete, it only hits 30 to 50%. Evasion only offers 10 to 15. Negotiating is useless. He has zero leverage at his current rank. That is his cold math. Fight and maybe live, flee and die, negotiate. And he definitely loses whatever Cho Doyan decides he wants, the previous owner of the Rust Dark left a note about the engine that saved him hours, whoever they were. They would have warned him about Kroyan's too, if they had known Kroyan was coming. Now he is the previous owner for whoever comes next. The note he leaves behind will not be a small slip of paper. Whatever he leaves behind will be the rank board itself. He looks at the cracked viewport once more. Stars do not blink. 3 triple coil signatures move steadily toward his ship. 20 minutes to figure out how to survive his first contact with another armed human in the galaxy. Scrap Lord, the voice on the comm is warm like a knife is warm after it is used. Cho Doyan is still smiling on the other end. He can hear it in his throat. You climb pretty fast for a guy who was bottom of the rank list just hours ago. His own voice stays flat, a trick of the salvage. He tells him an old wreck, cheap fuse, and a lucky hit on the rank table. Across the channel, Cho Doyan laughs, thinking he is stalling because he is scared. Half of that is right, but the pirate has no idea what is coming. Starry is already running under the conversation, the panel in his left. Visual hangs there in pale blue text, soft enough that his eyes can read it. While he looks at the long black slot of the cockpit window, 3 signatures. 1 lead, 2 backup. Cho Doyan's combat scout sits at the point of the wedge. The backups are running a wide arc, 1 above the ecliptic, 1 below. Lazy enough to suggest he has done this exact pinch 100 times. Talk to me. Cho Doyan says, tell me what you grabbed off that pilgrim wreck. Walk me through what you fused. A beat passes before he answers. Starry paints a thin red ring around his ship and starts feeding him numbers as descriptive prose. Combat Scout class, portside fuel line exposed, partial shield, 3 crew in the cabin, escape pod port aft, weapons hot but not yet primed for a kill. A red sliver along his port flank says combat damage from a prior raid, the kind of patch that never went on because patches cost money and pirates always think the next score will cover the last hole. I will talk, he says, but your friends hang back. Let them sit at outer range. I am not talking with a scout while 2 scouts circle me like crows. Cho Doyan laughs again, longer this time. He likes the word crows. Scrap Lord, you have got more spine than your pod has plating. Fine. They hold out of range. The pirate even sounds proud of him. He is laughing because he thinks the pod is no threat. A mining laser at 12% capacity does not threaten a combat scout in any sane reading of the galaxy. By every rule, he knows that math is closed, but Starry is about to completely break all his calculations. Cracks the math in a place he cannot see. Cockpit lights dim under his hand to bring his visual panel into clean focus. Rust Dark groans softly somewhere behind bulkhead, the way an old hull groans when asked to hold its position. He counters the minor drift. His hands rest loose, despite everyone saying he had nervous hands. But today, those hands are not shaking at all. They are completely still. They are something quieter. The star eye system begins displaying the firing window. The pirate scout has to turn to dock, exposing its portside fuel line. It will pass through a clean angle for exactly 3 seconds. Choi Doyan's shield covers most of the ship, but that exposed fuel line is a critical vulnerability. A software patch was never applied to protect it. Now, Star Eye paints the target area in thin yellow. Angle and distance are locked in. The perfect moment is set. His mining laser is at 12%, 1 shot only. It must hit the exact vector to ignite the fuel line. Hey, Choi Doyan says, his voice still warm. Tell me, what did you find on that pilgrim wreck? What made the rank board jump so high for a mere scrap pod? Explain what made world chat go silent when your handle lit up. He is hungry. Real greed hides behind his warm smile. Whatever the pilot has, he wants. He wants it all. His superiors clearly told him scrap pods do not jump rank tiers like this, and they want answers. The pilot mentions a cargo expansion. He claims the Pilgrim ship had a data core, allowing him to fuse it. Mixing in a real detail is always the easiest way to sell a lie. Choi Doyan pauses, calculating if a cargo expansion is worth using 3 scouts. He quickly decides it is not, which means he suspects there is more. He wants something bigger, good. The strategy relies entirely on keeping him hungry. Hunger forces him to dock. Docking makes him turn, exposing that vulnerable fuel line. In a clean firing window, what else? Doyan asks, his voice dropping low. His smile remains, but his patience is thinning. What else did you fuse? Scrap. Lord's silence hangs for a moment. The firing readout on the console glows. Steady, beneath it, the mining laser hums at 12%, ready for a single blast. He can dump all his power at once. His fingers rest on the trigger guard. His hand is steady. Suddenly, an old pilot's words echo in his mind. A private message he has not answered yet, mentioning Star Eye and a job well done. He pushes those thoughts aside. I will show you, the young pilot says, just dock. Your ship, I will open the cargo bay for you. Choi Doyan likes that idea. The pirate crew murmurs, laughing softly. Doyan thinks he has one. Setting his heavy scout on a docking path, the pirate gives the command, Star. I paints the trajectory in pale blue, starting a silent countdown on screen. The countdown ticks down in flat numbers, approach in 50 seconds, rotation begins. At 32 seconds, then closes at 29, just 3 seconds of opening, that tiny window of time is enough. Stall them longer, he thinks. Choi is demanding the terms of his trade. He wants the core plus everything else. Hidden in the hoard, the pirate promises to spare his ship and a fuel. Sell to keep going, a classic pirate offer that actually costs them nothing. Since they will strip the vessel bare anyway, letting Doyan ramble costs him nothing, the young pilot plays along, making quiet noises of agreement. He wants the pirate to hear his fear. It makes his act much more convincing. Suddenly, a notification pings on his private console, a short, urgent message. Addressing the scrap lord, saying if he somehow survives this hour, there. A tiny trade offer for nutrient paste arrives. It almost looks like an apology for sending it during a hostile encounter. He reads the line twice and files the handle deeper. The whole galaxy is watching him get pinched, and Salt Light is betting on what comes next. Inkwell pings him too with a longer, less polite offer. Inkwell wants a piece of whatever he just fused and is willing to pay for it with media coverage. He files the message under premature. Inkwell is certainly fast, but they want a hand on his hoard before the dust settles. That is exactly the wrong kind of partner to bring in during the first hour after a kill. Grey Flint pins the open regional chat with a sneer, targeting the bottom-rank scrap lord who found a private channel with the pirate pack leader. Touching, he drops the line into the regional channel and waits for a bite. His filing puts Grey Flint under bait. Pirate, the pattern is too clean. Grey Flint wants him to look guilty and keep him visible. The man is feeding the pirate pack a direct target lock through the open channel without ever saying it out loud. Cho Doyan's ship begins its rotation at 35 seconds. The arc curves as Starry marks the seam. His mining laser hums beneath the deck as he uncovers the firing trigger. His hands stay steady, so this is what steady looks like in this body. He thinks steady looks like a man who has absolutely nothing left to lose, sitting in a rusted pod. With a bad laser at 12%, watching a pirate scout turn its belly toward him, Cho Doyan keeps talking, telling the scrap lord they can be friends and run a long, quiet trade. He is laying down the friendly hook, the typical pirate script used right where they try to sell him on docking, right before the massive boarding tube clamps to steal everything in the hold. Letting him sell the act costs him nothing. He is playing along, making agreeable noises. Watch this, his eyes never leave the seam. The window opens at 32 seconds as the yellow line on Starry blooms wider. 2. The seam is exposed. 1. It reaches maximum angular clarity. Cho Doyan keeps talking mid-sentence, laughing as he instructs him to bring the data core to the boarding lock. 0. His finger presses the firing trigger. The mining laser dumps its single capacitor, and light leaps across the gap in a thin beam. Starry had drawn the line, and the beam follows it exactly. Seam absorbs the hit. The portside fuel line on Cho Doyan's scout flashes white at the puncture point, rupturing along its length as fuel ignites. A secondary detonation blooms inside the port aft compartment. The pirate's shield generator overloads in a soft chain of failures, leaving cabin lights flickering behind the cockpit window. The combat scout lurches violently sideways out of its rotation. Cho Doyan's voice on the comm chokes mid-laugh into a sound never heard from a pirate before, a small high gasp that is half disbelief. In half pure fear, his hand leaves the trigger and grabs the maneuvering. Yoke, the rust arc, aborts its docking run. The engines fire hard against the rotation, pulling him back along the drift line toward the Iron Pilgrim. Wreck, the Iron Pilgrim's broken bulk, hangs in the void like a half-collapsed cathedral. Behind that massive bulk sits the drift shadow starry marked for him 10 minutes ago as a cover position. The pod slides into safety with engine power. At 30%, the new fuel cell ticking down. In the heavy silence after the engine cuts, he can hear his own breathing, a slow, even pull. This is his new morning. He feels the galaxy dealt him a losing hand, but Starai showed him how to play it. Cho Dayan's ship hangs in the dark, dead in space as life support cuts out. Cabin by cabin, 2 backup scouts pause on their wide arc as Starai maps their hesitation in glowing amber. They saw the deadly strike but never saw it coming. From a mere scrap pod, the tactical math they relied on is now completely shattered. Right before their eyes, Vermilion's voice cracks open on regional chat, sounding older than expected. His tone is sharp and calculating, measuring every single variable in real time. He demands a status report from Cho Dayan, repeating the order, but receiving only dead silence. Starai detects Cho Dayan's escape pod, prepping to eject from the dying ship. The emergency pod's explosive bolts have not blown yet, and those 2 backup scouts are completely frozen. Neither pilot commits to closing in or retreating, stuck waiting on Vermilion's command. They wait on Vermilion. In the seconds before firing, he never once thought about what followed. But now the aftermath is here, his breath drawing slowly inside his helmet. The rust arc hides in deep drift shadow. A broken Pilgrim hull blocks their sight while Starai paints the field. Cho Dayan's combat scout drifts in a slow tumble, a glowing wound on its port. Failing lights flicker inside the ruined cockpit, where 3 men are already choking on heavy smoke. Their failing breathers are not built for a hull breach. Among them is the man who claimed just 10 minutes ago to be his ally. An alert pings. A half-written message is sent and instantly deleted by a worried contact. And that traitor is watching regional chat, because trust me, the entire galaxy is watching too. Meanwhile, world chat scrolls by in a frantic, blinding white cascade on his secondary display panel. Everyone wants to know who fired. Some think Cho Dayan blew his own power coil. But sharper users are already cross-referencing times with the public leaderboard. Counting seconds against his baiting command, rumors explode. A scrap pod attacking a military scout makes no sense. The math is broken. Something has to be wrong with the tactical math, and then a new private channel opens. On his lower panel, the old pilot warns him to get behind cover immediately. This direct message lands at the exact second Starai reports him already safely behind cover. The veteran pilot spotted the shot leaving the barrel and immediately warned him. A late warning, yes, but showing real concern. His opinion of the old pilot rises. Looking through his cramped cockpit window, he can see the dark silhouette of the ruins. Jagged Iron Pilgrim wreckage looms directly in front of him, displaying shattered ribs of ancient metal. The skeletal cathedral shape is even uglier now that he is tucked inside its broken belly. Up close, this massive wreck feels less like loot and more like a tomb. The pod nose hovers between 2 crushed bulkheads. A proximity alarm chirps once. That brief alarm goes completely silent as Starai confirms their drift shadow is holding perfectly clean. Suddenly, Vermilion opens a direct line. His voice is ice cold. He demands the scrap lord state his fuel reserves, unsure if he can fire again. Vermilion is clearly fishing for a tell, but his hand stays completely still. He avoids the controls, keeping his signature dead. Meanwhile, in the public channels, Lin uploads a heavily edited chat screenshot. Doctors Cho Dayan's last message, framing him as a ruthless pirate ambush target. This fake screenshot is not meant for local squads, but for the larger outlaw networks watching. They hunt a target in stolen databases. A core on a pirate scout he hasn't boarded yet, Star Eye will soon dig out a name. A brand new prompt sits right inside his lower visual field as his systems update. The Star Eye threshold approaches 60% growth. Combat triggers accelerate progression. Blue text rolls quietly under everything else patient. His system is hungry just like that pirate was, but this machine hunger is far colder. It is cleaner feeding when he acts on a read, like firing on that seam. That fed it and salvage will feed it more. He lets Vermilion's questions sit unanswered. Silence on the channel is its own statement. The 2 backup scouts are out there. drift outward along the wide arc. They are not yet retreating, but both are carefully testing the edge of what they call safe. Star Eye paints the test in amber, feeding him the numbers. The probability they call his bluff on broadcast is small. 12%, while odds they hold for Vermilion's order are 90. The math favors him. If he speaks right now, a long, slow breath escapes his lips. He presses the key, taking the regional channel for the first time as Scrap Lord. The voice that comes out of his throat is flatter than expected, sounding older than his pilot license. Pirate Pack lead Cho Do-yeon's ship is dead stick at this coordinate. If the two trailing scouts close to firing range, they will absolutely receive the exact same treatment, no second warning. The channel absorbs it. The regional channel goes quiet for one long breath, then suddenly goes loud. GRA Flint posts laughing emojis. Salt Light posts absolutely nothing. Inkwell posts a single line, calling him a smart kid. Vermilion does not post in the regional, the private channel. Between their ships closes from his side. Star Eye reads the channel terminate, marking the time and starting a ticking countdown on Vermilion's next move. The clock is short. Through the cockpit window, he watches the wide arc. The two backup scouts hold for a count of 30 long seconds before they both peel off. One above the ecliptic, one below, accelerating outward. Star Eye paints their burns, confirming the retreat. The Pirate Pack ambush is over. Cho Do-yeon's escape pod blows its bolts 10 seconds later, tumbling out of the dead scout like a tiny, spinning metal seed. Drifting slowly across the void, its life support readout sitting in the yellow band. His hand rests quietly on the comm panel. The pirate inside that pod is broadcasting nothing. The beacon remains passive. Star Eye reads life support at 20%. A full reserve, leaving roughly 10 hours until total failure. This clean kill would cost him nothing. One trigger pull would silence a witness, finish a debt, and close the morning ledger, but he doesn't fire. Besides, his mining laser is empty. Anyway, the single shot already expended, but the truth is actually far simpler. Pirate broken and broke is worth far more wounded than dead. Cho Do-yeon has a name. Above him now, beyond that name, sits a contract in a data core on the dying ship he is about to board. The pirate, alive in a tumbling pod with 10 hours of air, will trade everything he knows about the man above him for just one more day. This entire galaxy is a graveyard for people who finish kills too soon. An old pilot taught him that in a message he hasn't answered. The course is set for the dead scout, and Rustark's engines push gently out of drift. Shadow, the cathedral ribs of the Iron Pilgrim slide past on either side. A brief tunnel of broken metal, and then the vast, open void appears once more. Ahead, Cho Do-yeon's the combat scout drifts on a slow tumble, its portside fuel line glowing red. Spent, his pod closes the distance at a careful, measured pace. The morning of the survival galaxy is far from finished, and the salvage he is about to pull will set up his next 3 days. Rust Arc closes on the dead scout at half power. Star Eye paints the hull from 20 meters out, pulling readings on every single breached compartment. The combat scout has gone fully dark in the cockpit, the port compartment still smolders red at the fuel line wound. Cabin pressure has completely equalized with the void through a hairline crack along the seam where the secondary explosion ran. 3 crew signatures register as still alive inside their boarding suits. None of those signatures belongs to Cho Do-yeon. He had time to crawl into the pod before life support cut. His 3 men did not get that same chance. Magnetic dock clamps clack into place along the scout's intact starboard panel. The hiss of pressure equalization between Rust Arc's small boarding tube and the scout's airlock is the first soft sound he has heard since the laser fired. Inside the boarding suit, his breath is loud against the visor glass. His hand carries a welding cutter and the small repair kit. Through the suitcom, he can hear nothing on the regional, nothing on the private channels. The silent galaxy is letting this salvage moment play out in complete privacy. Star Eye runs a sweep on the airlock before he opens it. No active mines are visible. 0 trip wires across the lock. Remote charges are absent. Cho Do-yeon's crew did not have time to rig the ship before the cabin lights died. Cabin pressure on the other side of the lock reads 30%. Atmosphere breathable for just one barefaced minute. If his suit cracks, let's hope it doesn't. Not going to happen. He cycles the airlock and steps through. The interior of the scout smells like burned plastic, even through his suit's filtration system. Bulkheads hang scorched in the corridor leading aft. The 3 crew bodies are not where he expected them. 2 are in the cockpit, slumped against panels. Breathers on, but already past the saturation point of whatever their oxygen reserves were. A third lies in the corridor, face down, helmet still on. Small puddle of coolant pooling around him. Star Eye marks all three as recoverable, though not by him at this hour. The combat scout has an emergency beacon he can leave running on a delay. Vermilion's network will pull them when they get brave again, and the three pirates will live to remember Scrap Lord. By name, an old pilot once said a living witness beats a cold corpse, and honestly the math agrees. In the cargo hold he finds what he came for, 4 fuel cells racked in a steel cradle, full reserve. The bright green indicator light is still burning despite the dead ship. An AB rank laser turret sits cradled against the bulkhead with mount fittings packed beside it, the kind of weapon a combat scout uses to clear small wrecks before docking. 3 engine fragments hang in a maintenance net. 2 are too damaged to fuse, but 1 is clean enough to slot into his engine bay if Ancient Evolution Core agrees. 6 ration packs sit in a sealed locker that he pries open with the welding cutter. 4 water bottles ride in it. Separate webbing, a small Tier 1 shield generator with maybe 40 cycles left on it, leans against the wall beside the maintenance net. 2 trips across the docking tube carry the load onto. Rust arc, his breath stays completely even. His hands move the way a salvager's hands move when they have done this 1,000. Seen in dreams and twice in life. The pirate captain's cabin is the last room he clears. Its door has a manual lock that the welding cutter handles in 20 long seconds. Inside the cabin, a small panel lies open on the desk, a sealed data core rests in its slot. The indicator light is still amber, keeping contents intact. His gloved hand lifts it free. The data core goes into the satchel at his hip, alongside the welding cutter. Now, he is finally back on Rust Arc with the boarding tube retracted. He sets the dead scout drifting on a slow vector toward the open void, with its emergency beacon still ticking away, while Cho's escape pod tumbles on its own track 100 kilometers off. Life support readout is dropping 1% every 28 minutes. 2 backup scouts are long gone. Vermilion's clock is still ticking, and he does not know what lies on the far side of it. In the cockpit, he lays the salvage out on the deck plates and lets Star Eye scan each piece in order. The Ancient Evolution Core hums softly beneath the cargo hatch. His hand rests on the core's housing. This is the first fusion since his rank jump. The pirate captain's data core goes first into the scan tray. Star Eye reads it slowly, its indicator light flickering constantly as the system slowly pulls layer after layer of contract records and ship logs right out of the core's encrypted slots. Pirate ship log, 60 days of raid records, salvage manifests, crew rosters. Cho Dohun is captain of record. Crew names match the bodies on the dead scout. Routine pirate work, but an interesting layer sits underneath. A hidden contract record. Cho Dohun's name links upward to a handle that Star Eye partially identifies as I am Deong. The recruitment contract pays Cho Dohun with salvage rights, ammo allotments, and protection within a larger structure described in the contract as the Black Anchor Coalition. I am Deong is listed as recruiting officer. The contract specifies that any handle showing anomalous rank jumps in the regional bottom tier is to be flagged and reported dead or alive, but preferably alive, so that is why he came. Star Eye writes the conclusion under the contract record in pale text. Cho Dohun was hunting bottom rank anomalies for someone above him. He saw the rank board jump and he ran a contracted pinch. Now his ship is dead and the man above him, I am Deong, has a hole in his hunting party. The hole has his name on it. Filing I am Deong as a future threat, he pushes the data core deeper into Rust Arc secure storage. The information is more dangerous than the ship. Anyone who learns he has it becomes the next problem. Fusion is next. The Ancient Evolution Core glows softly under his hand. 4 fuel cells go onto the fusion tray. The core pulls them in and integrates the reserve directly into Rust Arc's fuel system. Cabin lights flicker once. Fuel reads 90% of full reserve. The pod has not flown on this much fuel since launch day. Laser turret is next. The mining laser uninstalls from the weapon mount with 3 long bolts. New mount fittings slot into the same plate with 2 minor adjustments that the welding cutter handles. A power feed routes through the existing capacitor with a small adapter. The core fuses in place. Weapon power reads 35%. The first real gun this pod has ever carried. His hand patches the turret housing once, just like an old pilot patting his hull on a stream broadcast. From his early years, small shield generator next, the Tier 1 unit installs. At the port side along the whole plate he welded yesterday, this fusion takes longer. Better than the rest, the ancient evolution core pulls the shield generator controller into the Rust Ark's existing systems, rewriting the power routing to share. Capacitor load with the turret, shields red 12% coverage on the port side. Only it is not full coverage, but enough to absorb a close-range glancing shot. The first shield this pod has ever worn, next up the engine fragment. That clean scout fragment slots into the engine bay next to the basic coil from. The Pilgrim Wreck, the ancient evolution core, fuses the fragment to that existing coil, rewriting the burn profile. Engines hit 42%, acceleration response is sharper and burns cleaner, fuel efficiency rises, the pod feels different through the deck plates the moment the fusion completes, a tighter hum, a quicker settle. Patch plates from the previous salvage already covered the worst breaches, recoil damage from firing settled right into the existing patchwork without spreading further. Starry runs a full self-scan on the pod and displays the new readout in pale blue. Hull 38%, engine 42%, weapon power 35%, port shield 12%, oxygen full, cargo 60%, fuel 90. These numbers look pretty embarrassing next to the numbers from 12 hours ago, but watch this. His galactic ranking jumps another tier, pinging his name on the world chat leaderboard. Right past 3 more rival pilots, none are famous but all of them are now watching him from above. The Starry system hits its next growth threshold mid-fuse, and a small blue prompt rolls across his visual field. Tier 2 upgrade available. Proximity scan extension unlocked at completion. Combat triggers continue to feed growth. A second prompt rolls right after. The first crew compartment activation available. Rust Arc hull capacity is sufficient for 1 extra crew slot. No life support investment required for short-term occupancy. The pod is built for 2. The previous owner flew alone. That second slot had always been there. He just never noticed because he never needed it. His hand rests on the core housing. The pod is no longer the same. His hoard is no longer the same. Scrap Lord is a name that carries real weight now. Outside the cockpit window, the galaxy has not changed shape, but the shape of his place in it has shifted 1 full degree. Outside, Cho Yan's escape pod tumbles in the dark. Life support holds at 18%, ticking down. Starry reads that the pod's beacon is passive. The pirate inside hasn't broadcasted. Either he hopes a pirate scout will find him before a patrol does, or he has already fallen unconscious in the dark, thinking about the tiny scrap pod that turned his peaceful ride into a deadly trap. Suddenly, a new chat line opens. It is from Coalbreaker, a famous A-tier captain who previously mocked him in the world chat yesterday, before going completely silent after the rank jump. Coalbreaker says nothing yet. His handle just sits there for 30 seconds. With a typing indicator active, then it stops and he posts a single line. Scrap Lord private channel now. The message lands without insults, without any mockery or performance for the regional audience. His hand opens the private channel. Coalbreaker's voice comes through, sounding much older than he expected. His cadence is careful. I owe you an apology, Scrap Lord, I misread your handle. He pauses, taking a breath. I will not. Snorting at the screen, the pilot hurls another insult over the regional chat. But if you are hiring outriders, my ship is available at standard rates. Absolute discretion is guaranteed. With that, the mysterious voice abruptly cuts the line. Talk about a wild reputation flip. He quickly shuts down the private link. The guy insulted him at dawn, only to offer his sword by afternoon. Old pilot's wisdom comes back to him now. The regional reads talent. Out here, the network recognizes kills, especially those pulled off against brutal odds. Coalbreaker is reading this crazy massacre like a veteran soldier, not an excited fan. Suddenly, a separate notification scrolls past as the global chat starts exploding. Players are desperate to uncover Scrap Lord's identity before the server reset. Some suspect he is a pro hiding behind a secret secondary account. Others think he found a broken talent drop inside the starting tutorial. The rumors are completely wrong, which is incredibly safe for him. His secret starry eye remains safe. Suddenly, a private ping arrives. He receives only 3 direct words from the veteran pilot, "Get moving, kid." He does not explain where or why. The direct message immediately erases itself. The old man is taking 0 chances with his messages. That instruction stands. He immediately reaches for the ship's navigation console. The Rust Ark glides away from the floating debris field. Starry charts a long, quiet course toward a drift zone 3 jumps away. It is a safe haven where low-level pilots trade in secret. Out of reach of the regional trackers, best of all. New engine is incredibly efficient, leaving his fuel steady at 88%. Behind him, Troy Doyen's empty escape pod drifts away. The ruined Iron Pilgrim fades into the silent dark of space. A day starting with a weak mining laser ends with a B-ranked turret. He also gained a tiny shield, 90% fuel, and a loaded data core. This intel must be handled with care. Who can blame him? Traveling 3 jumps east takes only 11 minutes using the upgraded burn profile. The Rust Ark slides through the empty void at a clean, steady pace. He hears a powerful engine hum beneath the deck plates unlike anything before. Old Pilot's warning echoes in his mind as the safe haven appears on screen. The destination map shows a loose cluster of miners, brokers, and salvagers. No hostile pirate signatures have appeared here for days. With no pirate presence detected, he can finally park here and rest. While the automated flight runs, he boots up the pirate captain's secure drive. He lets his trusty AI, Star, continue decrypting the heavily locked files. Hidden directories begin to open. He spots a file marked Operations. It contains 11 coordinates, each flagged for syndicate recruitment. These locations point to 11 other anomalies in the system. His own sector is listed as the 12th target on the map. The pirate captain added his coordinates right before their fight. It turns out 11 other pilots in this sector managed the same feat. A few of them might still be alive, while others were recruited. Reading through the roster, he quietly saves every single name. He searches his memory. Dust Line is on the list, a small mining ship that pinged regional comms. Earlier they asked how anyone survives without fuel. Now, Dust Line has jumped ranks. Up to rank 2 quietly, but someone noticed. Now they are panicking. He's panicking in public, not realizing that showing fear is the absolute worst move. So he files Dust Line as a potential ally and a threat, then keeps scrolling. 2 of the 11 names are total mysteries. 3 others are just background noise from regional chat. He never paid attention until now. One name stands out, Coalbreaker. He is on M. Dayoung's recruitment list, too, meaning Coalbreaker already knows what is happening. Or he will soon. That apology Coalbreaker sent him earlier might not be pure respect. It looks more like a man searching for an ally before the hammer drops on him. He exhales heavy. This galaxy's information market is absolutely massive. Way bigger than he realized at the start. M. Dayoung is running a massive operation. He is recruiting anomaly pilots, and Choi Do-hyun was one of his lead hunters. But now Choi Do-hyun is broken, and suffocating in a floating life pod. His boss lost a hunter and gained a headache, but here is the catch. He knows too much, value draws targets. Suddenly the interface flashes. Combat is at 92%, salvage sits at 60%. A third path opens, information growth starts at 8%. Scanning that stolen data core is feeding his system, just like firing his ship's laser. It craves both action and knowledge. That's a good lesson. Just then, the Rust Ark drops. The ship completes its second jump, revealing the vast drift zone on his long-range sensors. 12 tiny signatures drift in a loose pattern ahead, not a single fighter among them. Starry identifies every handle to check their threat status. No hostiles detected. Only 2 are cautious, while the rest are neutral. A middleman broker anchors the cluster. This place serves as a back-alley trade station for the system's lower-tier pilots. The old pilot's secret trade frequency is buried inside. He probably hasn't been invited yet. But the physical coordinates match the exact spot the old-timer told him to find. He coaxes the Rust Ark into a lazy glide at the outer edge of the flotilla. Shutting down the main engines, he lets his ship drift. The interior lights dim to amber. He peels off his heavy armored spacesuit, stowing it back in its metal locker. For once, he can sit in his pilot's seat wearing standard, comfortable fatigues. Helmet off, he just breathes, let the moment sink in. His massive haul of scrap fills the cargo hold. The pirate captain's databank is secure. A high-grade turret sits on the hardpoint, while the new shield hums quietly. Fuel is sitting healthy at 88%, dropping slowly as positioning thrusters fire. Still, the exterior is a rusted, ugly mess. The hull integrity is only at 38%. By any logical standard, his ship is a death trap, still. but it is the exact trap that just crushed a pirate leader. He walked away with their entire treasure, and that legend is spreading fast. Pilots across the entire zone will whisper his name in private chats tonight. At dusty trading hubs and inside messy crew cabins, they are debating his story. They wonder if it is a fluke, a setup, or reality. His finger taps. His finger taps the glass. A sudden feeling washes over him, not pride. It is more like quiet acceptance. The universe handed him a rusted metal box. Meanwhile, everyone else started with warships. A fair fight was never on the table. All the galaxy gave him was a star eye to read seams and a hunger that keeps growing. A hunger that grows every single time he acts on it. The odds against him were overwhelming at launch. Those odds still run against him, yet the scale of that threat has shifted by a noticeable margin. Outside his cockpit window, the silent drift zone hangs completely still. His star eye runs a passive scan and finds no hostile signatures nearby. There are no enemies within 10 jumps. It is a rare moment of peace. The morning killings are done, and the evening info war has not started. He leans back in his chair and closes his eyes for a slow count of 10. His next move involves an intel broker. His hoard is heavy enough to feed him for a week. But it cannot grow without a network. Old Pilot, Saltlight, Coilbreaker, and others. Inkwell, the Sibroker hub, and 11 other anomaly handles in the region. All of them are pieces on a board that he is only beginning to understand. Diong's name sits right at the top in a color he cannot yet identify. Opening his eyes, the chair creaks softly as he leans forward to access the messages. There are plenty of messages waiting for him. It is time to read them. The panel opens with a soft chime, stacking 23 unread messages before him. More messages pour in. The handles range from familiar faces to brand new contacts. His star eye automatically sorts them by their signature trust scores. This puts the careful ones on top and the desperate handles further down. Skimming the list, he starts with Old Pilot, whose short message praises him for a job well done. That praise is followed by a longer paragraph that he reads twice. The secret trade channel mentioned earlier has an invite link attached to it. It holds 24 low-key handles, with no pirate signatures within 7 jumps. The brokerage runs on a closed reputation system, and Old Pilot vouches for him. This invite carries a signature stamp, marking his first real doorway into this network. With a quick tap, he accepts, opening a private layer beneath the regional channel. 24 handles sit inside, most of them low rank on the public boards. Yet all of them are quietly busy as a small ticker scrolls trade offers. They are trading nutrient paste for fuel coordinates and metal plates for fresh water. Engine fragments are swapped for navigation charts in this low-level barter economy. Out here, coordinates are the only currency that actually matters to anyone. He spots Saltlight in the hub, and she pings him immediately. She offers him nutrient packs in exchange for coordinates of any cleared wrecks. It is a smart move. Saltlight is incredibly careful with her business. She only asks for cleared coordinates to avoid being targeted by dangerous scavengers. Dealing in cleared scrap keeps her safe from the pilots who cleared them. He registers her as a credible partner and opens her trade window. The Iron Pilgrim wreck he cleared this morning sits ready in his cache. While stripped of its primary treasures, it still holds plenty of secondary scrap. Smaller scavengers can still profit from it, and the location is already famous. Since it was a known kill site, everyone already has the rough coordinates. Selling the precise coordinates to Saltlight costs him absolutely nothing. He easily walks away with 6 nutrient packs, closing the deal in 30 seconds. The 6 nutrient packs are launched directly into his cargo bay. As Saltlight's drone. As the ships retreat, the Old Pilot pings him privately again, pausing on the comm. He hesitates for half a beat before continuing, mentioning a small alien beacon. It is located at coordinate 734 Mark 8, out in the Eastern Drift. The pilot has wanted a scan for 2 years, but never had the skill. Since our main character has the system to get a deep scan, a trade is offered. This contact trades clean intel for crucial supplies like water and ration packs. It is a fair trade and a test. The pilot using that name sits heavy on him. The old man named his system yesterday in a private message, and now he is doing it again. By every rule of how the galaxy operates, there is no way he should know. The universe was supposed to be completely blind to his system, yet the pilot knows. He is incredibly careful, never talking on open channels, always in private. His file on the Old Pilot grows. This was not a random encounter. Someone chose him for a reason, until he uncovers why the deals remain fair. The info is useful and the offers buy him time. He accepts the deal. He locks coordinate 734 Mark 8 as a future waypoint on his screen. Star Eye highlights the spot in pale blue, marking it as a low priority. That is tomorrow's job. Tonight, something closer calls. Inkwell pings him next. Inkwell sends a massive message, the kind that signals a serious business offer. He offers a partnership on a guarded route between 3 small drift zones. It takes 10 days a cycle, with a 60-40 split favoring Inkwell. Inkwell's ship provides the security. Reading this twice, he hesitates. A 60-40 split is greedy, and the offer comes too soon after his big kill. Inkwell sees him as a rising star and wants to lock him down early. He wants to exploit him before he realizes his own leverage. Politeness matters here, so he sends a brief, professional 2-line reply. He thanks him but says he is not ready for a partnership just yet. He promises to follow up in a week. Once sent, Inkwell goes quiet. A real partner would understand, while a greedy broker would have pushed back. Inkwell does not push, meaning he is somewhere right in the middle. Not quite malicious, but not totally honest either. Gray Flint pings next. It is a private message filled with long, ugly, poorly spelled threats. He claims to be close to Troy Dohan, promising revenge is coming. He warns he will hunt him down until his fuel runs completely dry. And pirate packs find him crawling, but this message is clear bait. Gray Flint wants a reply timestamp to gauge his emotional state. No response is sent. The message closes unread, threat confirmed. Star Eye flags the contact permanently. Suddenly, 3 new alerts ping his console. The first message comes from a small mining ship named Dustline. Their public panic has officially turned into a desperate private message. Dustline is asking the exact same questions on both channels. This suggests genuine panic, not the staged trap of a pirate bait. The handle asks how anyone survives without fuel, prompting Star Eye to scan. Star Eye runs a quick signature, red on the B-rank mining ship. It is leaking power across 2 systems, with no shield or reserve fuel. With no shields or reserve fuel, they are close to floating dead. Helping Dustline costs him absolutely nothing, but it earns him a debt from a key handle. A handle that Diong already flagged as an anomaly. The math simply says to help. He carefully sends Dustline intel on coordinate 426. Mark 9 has a small fuel asteroid Salt Light told him about. He suggests a quiet vector approach from the north, with no pirate scans for 48 hours. The price is 1 local navigation chart, and Dustline accepts. It arrives within 10 seconds. Star Eye quickly scans the file. 3 small, completely unknown wrecks, 2 of them sit nearby. They go straight into his long-term salvage queue as another buyer reaches out. An old pilot rooted this trade under the handle Hawk Moss. Hawk Moss deals in chemicals and wants ammo from that pirate scout. Our pilot just looted 2 crates, and Hawk Moss offers a rare medical compound. It is a drug called serapine, used by pilots on grueling solo runs. It fights fatigue and extends reflexes during hours of tough combat. Star Eye confirms that this trade heavily favors him based on regional market pricing. Hawk Moss pays a premium, unsure if anyone else has scout ammo right now. The deal is accepted, and the exchange goes through without a hitch. When the serapine arrives, he logs the sealed vial for future use. 2 crates of ammunition leave his cargo bay as a third buyer connects. This new handle is completely unfamiliar in the sector, operating under the name Bonefall. A long-range scout with a clean signature, their brief message lands instantly. They heard about the kill, wanting to buy intel on the pirate captain. Though they offer a highly tempting price, he reads the message with caution. He declines because information on Diong is the most dangerous weapon he holds. Selling it would put him directly in the crosshairs of a recruitment officer. Star Eye flags Bonefall as either a pirate spy or a reckless amateur. Either way, his reply is polite but firm, offering them absolutely nothing at all. The intel is not for sale. Bonefall goes silent, then disappears completely. Case closed. By now, 38 handles have pinged him through various channels. The entire local information economy has completely shifted around him in 2 hours. Just like that, his dirty secrets are worth far more than his entire ship. More than his fuel and more than his weapon power, Star Eye writes. A glowing notification shows his information growth path has spiked by 40%. It is climbing faster than the rest. He pivots completely into broker mode. He posts a brief advertisement in the hub, offering safe route coordinates. His listing features danger ratings, salvage advice, and deals on fuel and rations. He accepts water or rations. Complete discretion is fully guaranteed. Within 90 seconds of posting, 11 eager inquiries flood his inbox. The hub members are desperate for clean intel from a reliable source. They know he reads the field clearly, but Star Eye remains hidden. He only sells conclusions, never his methods, keeping his secrets safe. The calculations stay inside his pod. Trades start rolling in steadily. For 40 minutes, transactions flow. A user named Brightsbar buys safe routes. He trades hints on the Eastern Drift for 2 water bottles and a coil. Then another handle called Low Tide pays him for a zone danger rating. The wreckage of the Iron Pilgrim is hot. Its danger rating skyrocketed because of pirate scouts. They marked it as a kill zone after he traded 3 ration packs and a nav chart. A local buyer named Steelroot pays in weapon parts for monster weakness data. He got these scans earlier from a drifting void creature near the wreck. That creature drifted right near the wreck. Turns out, this intel is incredibly high value. Steelroot's faction is planning a massive hunt against that exact monster class next week. His inventory climbs fast. 9 reserve fuel cells are secured, including 4 from the pirate, plus 8 water bottles and 12 ration packs. 4 spare hull plates. He even installed the B-rank laser turret. A small shield generator is online, alongside 3 engine fragments. 2 pirate ammo crates remain. He also decoded the pirate captain's data core. But the Iron Pilgrim's original core remains sealed under a second-tier lock. That ancient evolution core still has not cracked it. He also has 1 medical vial. It sits inside a sealed locker, next to 2 chemical crates thrown in by Hawk Moss. As a sweetener, no less, his cargo bay is packed tighter than ever before. The rust arc feels heavier beneath his boots, a very real weight. For the first time, it feels real. Star Eye runs a fast capacity check now. The cargo bay sits at 60% capacity, leaving room for more loot. The old pilot pings privately. He was watching the trades roll in. Just 3 words appear on the screen: smart, fast, and careful. That kind of praise is incredibly rare from a veteran like him, but it is also a warning. The veteran wants him to stay all 3 of those things: smart, fast, and careful. Because the next 48 hours will test him to his absolute limit. Locking those words away, he gets back to work. Then Coalbreaker pings him. The captain wants to talk. He is not looking to hire him just yet. Just to talk, Coalbreaker has critical info on a pirate pack. This news concerns him directly. The price is small, just 1 safe route tip. It is a fair trade. He reads the captain carefully, searching for any lies. The offer is legit. He accepts, opening the private channel. What Coalbreaker reveals next makes him freeze. A pirate scout is on the hunt. The enemy was assigned specifically to his sector. Its job is to tag, not fight. It is supposed to track the scrap lord over the next 72 hours. Logging every single trade, movement, and contact, the funding comes from a familiar face. It is the same recruiter Troy Duyun worked for, a shadowy figure. Coalbreaker does not know his name, but he confirmed the man exists. This means Mr. Diong has put a watcher on him. He is being hunted. The target is already in this sector, but Star Eye has not spotted him yet. He pays Coalbreaker with a clean, safe route for his next 2 warp cycles. The deal is done. The private channel cuts out, leaving him in silence. He lets his hand rest on the console. The watcher is already here. His morning kill drew this shadow. The funding leads right back to the recruiter. The very man named inside his salvaged data core. This is information warfare. And that watcher is the first move. Star Eye initiates a passive scan. It sweeps 12 warp jumps within range, running quietly in the background. It costs no fuel, but it will find him. Star Eye never misses. Before he finds the answers Mr. Diong is paying him to bring back, his fingers tap. The console once, the night is young, while the passive scan runs. More deals drop. A user named Reedlen buys salvage advice on a recent mid-tier Rec 2 jumps north, paying in 3 water bottles and a small mount adapter that Starry marks as useful for a future turret. Upgrade. Britsbar comes back with a follow-up question and a follow-up. Payment. Low Tide refers a friend handle Sladewing, who buys a danger rating on a different wreck and pays in a navigation chart and 1 ration pack, the hub. Members are starting to call him by his handle. Word inside the sidebroker hub. Moves fast. The old pilot sits in the hub like a quiet patron. he posts almost nothing publicly. His private channel is busy. Through him, 3 more buyers reach him, each pre-vetted, each paying clean prices. His trust score inside the hub climbs visibly across the trades. Starry marks the hub's trust algorithm as reputation weighted, with vouched handles carrying disproportionate signal. The old pilot's vouch on his entry has been worth more than his actual ledger. Coalbreaker, after that private call, posts a single line in the regional channel where his other mockery used to live. Scrap Lord trades clean. The line is short and carries no apology, no explanation. It is a public reputation flip from one of the regional's recognized A-tier captains, dropped without any drama. Starry reads the chat reaction across the next 60 seconds. Mockery handles go quiet, too. Prior critics delete their old taunts. New trust accrues to Scrap Lord by the second. Coalbreaker has cost him 1 safe route hint and given him 10 times that value in regional reputation. So this is what an alliance looks like at the start. A small voice ping on world chat lights up. Vermilion, the pirate pack captain who held the wide arc this morning, has not yet spoken publicly. Since the retreat, now he posts a single line in world chat, read by every regional simultaneously. Pirate pack does not forget. The line is short, mocking in its restraint, designed to chill rather than threaten. Most regional handles read it as a warning aimed at everyone. He reads it as a warning aimed at him. Starry marks the post and adds Vermilion's handle to the active threat tracker, so that is the public face of the next 48 hours. Pirate pack publicly threatens, privately scouts, quietly recruits. His evening goes from busy to dangerous in the time it takes Vermilion to type 7 words. His fingers tap the console twice. Time to consolidate, pulling Rust Arc off the broker channel for 10 minutes. He runs a horde audit. Starry writes it in pale blue. 9 fuel cells, 8 water bottles, 12 ration packs, 6 nutrient paste packs, 4 hull plates reserve, B- rank laser turret installed, 3 reserve engine fragments, 2 welded ammo crates remaining. The pirate captain's data cord decoded, Iron Pilgrim data core sealed, Serapine vial in the med locker, 2 crates of basic chemicals from Hawk Moss, 3 navigation charts of mixed regions, a small mount adapter, 1 reserve coil, 6 pieces of monster wheat. This intel filed. Cargo bay at 62% of expanded capacity, fuel at 86% of full reserve, engine, weapon, shield, hull all at fused upgrade levels. In raw terms, the horde is now larger than his pods. Original launch loadout by an order of magnitude. Strategically, that horde is heavy enough to bankroll 3 days of careful trading without making a single salvage run. As intelligence, the horde is dangerous because it contains a name above Chodon. That name is the asset most likely to get him killed if leaked. Most likely to get him killed if not understood. He sits in the cockpit chair and lets the moment exist for a full half-minute. Outside the cockpit window, the drift zone hangs quiet, 12 small handles in loose formation. The old pilot's patron handle is parked in the center of the hub like an anchor. Distant pirate pack signatures sit beyond 10 jumps in all directions. There is no immediate hostile signature within the star's passive scan field. Inside the pod, the small shield hums softly. The B-rank turret cools after the morning's fire. Ancient evolution core breathes under the deck plates in its slow, patient pulse. The morning of the survival galaxy is fully closed. Evening sits past its midpoint. Somewhere in this regional sector, a pirate pack scout is reading his trades. Further out in a side channel he does not yet have access to, a man named Im Diong is being briefed on the kill of this hunter. Closer in a small ship he has not yet identified, the old pilot is watching him from a chair older than his license. The evening is not over. Trust me, the real information war has not even started either. Night has its own work. His fingers stretch, his eyes blink twice. The direct message panel pings again with a new private message from a handle he does not recognize. An unknown handle. The signature reads neutral by Star Eye's first pass. Class registers a small private cargo vessel. The ship name is redacted. Registration is 2 days old. A fresh handle is pinging him out of nowhere, the kind of handle that is either a brand new player who has not yet learned the rules or a deeply experienced player who has dropped his old handle for a clean slate. The message is short. They saw the kill broadcast, buying salvage advice for Rec 4 jump southwest. They are paying in coordinates of a low traffic supply. Depot, reply if interested. Pulling Star Eye into a deep pass on the handle, he finds a careful signature pattern. Power readings are clean. a calm signature scrubbed. Of any prior network identifiers, with navigation logs sanitized, this is an experienced handle with a clean slate, the stated coordinate for the rec checks out against a small reference in the side hub's database. Filing the handle as cautious but experienced, he opens a trade window. The transaction lands, salvage advice for the Southwest rec routes through Star Eye. After a careful read, coordinates of the supply depot land in his hoard. The depot is small but well stocked according to the chart, definitely worth a future visit, along. Breath leaves him, the intel broker economy is now self-sustaining, the trades land every few minutes, hub members refer him forward, the old pilot watches from the center of the cluster, his wealth is climbing, his handle, Scrap Lord, is becoming a key node in the regional network. See how fast things change, the morning's mockery is dead. Some handles still snipe at him in the public regional, but those snipes carry no weight now because Coilbreaker's public line set a new floor for how his handle reads while the trades roll. Star Eye keeps the passive scan running across the 10-jump field, 60 minutes after he parked at the edge of the drift zone. The scan picks up a faint signature, a long-range scout with an idle drift profile, no active broadcast, sitting at the outer edge of the 10-jump radius behind a small dust cluster. Star Eye paints a signature in pale red, identifying it. It is a pirate pack pattern. Coilbreaker's intel was real. The Watcher is right there. The pilot's breath stays even. The Watcher has not moved into firing range. His mission is observation. Non-engagement, exactly as Coilbreaker reported. Star Eye marks the target. It locks onto the Watcher's position, tracking him. Any movement off the cluster triggers a warning. Any shift triggers a proximity alert. For now, the Watcher just sits there. He remains passive, absorbing the pilot's signal data and logging every trade. He watches small cargo launches arrive and depart from the pod, waiting. The scout knows where the ship is, but he has no idea what Star Eye sees. With every passing minute, Star Eye analyzes and learns the scout's exact pattern. Blue text flashes on the screen. Information analysis is already at 55%. Counter-surveillance is actively accelerating the data scan. Coilbreaker pings privately, confirming the Watcher's arrival from his own sources. He asks if the pilot has eyes on the scout. The reply is a single word, yes. Coilbreaker offers thanks and disconnects. A new relationship is taking shape. First, he bought a safe route. Now he pays to confirm the Watcher's presence. The next price will be higher. The next transaction will be far heavier. A strong alliance is forming, but now the old pilot pings him again. His message is different this time, requesting the alien beacon scan tonight instead of tomorrow. A buyer is lined up and needs the data within 12 hours. The payout is excellent, 2 ration packs and water on top of the standard contract. Star Eye runs the numbers. The beacon rests at 734 Mark 8. Located in the Eastern Drift, fuel costs are moderate and risks are low. The drift is currently clear of pirates. The Watcher cannot follow without revealing himself. This is a clean trade. It is a quick, simple run. Accepting the job, the pilot prepares the rust arc for immediate departure. Leaving the parking zone, engines push away from the hub on an eastward vector. The Watcher behind them is strictly observing at this stage. M. Daeyoung wants intelligence, not a kill. That data is exactly what must be denied. Star Eye activates a deception layer across the navigation log. The route now shows 3 different destinations, confusing anyone trying to follow. The beacon is just one of those choices. It buys him time. The vast Eastern Drift opens up, located 2 jumps east and 3 jumps north. The mysterious alien beacon sits quietly at coordinates 734 Mark 8. It is about the size of a standard habitat module, broadcasting a strange signal. No one in the sector has ever decoded it, despite pilots watching it for years. Many pilots have lost their ships here. Running a scan triggers a deadly defense system. If the scan is even slightly off, a dormant weapon system fires immediately. Absolute precision is key. The old pilot bet heavily on Star Eye's capabilities. The approach must be incredibly careful. The rust arc drifts forward at quarter power. Engines run cold, keeping the ship's heat signature completely masked. Star Eye paints the beacon in pale blue, actively mapping the broadcast pattern. The advanced system deciphers layer after layer of structure from the static. The beacon's protocol resolves in 2 minutes. The actual content takes 3. The deadly defense system never triggers. Star Eye's calculations were flawless. The alien beacon reads his scan as a friendly inquiry instead of an intrusion. This is exactly what the old pilot was looking for all along, a hidden star chart. A pre-collapsed star fragment from 3 grids away. Inside the fragment are 17 waypoints, with 6 flagged as resource-rich. 3 of them carry icons star I cannot decode yet, but the buyer will pay. He gets paid just for the data. The buyer's identity is kept completely secret. He does not need to know who it is. The transaction runs through his broker. Right on cue, 2 ration packs and a bottle of water land in his cargo bay. A small cargo drop from a relay ship in the Eastern Drift. The successful transaction also unlocks the second growth path for his AI companion, Star I. It is a high-tier source, boosting system growth to 70%. The Star I system hits level 2 in the middle of his scan. His proximity scan expands from 10 jumps to 15. Passive surveillance adds signature mimicry detection to flag targets. It flags ships whose behaviors do not match their claims, a very useful tool. Leaving the Eastern Drift, he slowly steers the Rust Arc toward the broker hub. A silent watcher hiding behind the dust cluster tracks his slow return. They monitor regional logs, passively observing his ship from afar. Luckily, his active deception layer makes his entire route look completely ambiguous. This is his new life: move, scan, sell, repeat, and never leave a trace. Total secrecy is his only real defense in this information war. Halfway back, a private message suddenly pings on his control panel. It is an unfamiliar signature from a research vessel captain named Park Eugene. The protocol is clean, professional, and addresses him directly by his alias. Scrap Lord, this is Park Eugene, direct and straight to the point. He reads the message slowly. She is a research vessel captain in deep trouble. She possesses an A-tier talent for analyzing rare alien materials. She is trapped near a drone field at coordinate 117 Mark III. Her ship engines are heavily damaged from a prior encounter. Any movement will trigger the hostile drones, but she has rare medicine aboard. A synthesized medicine that is incredibly valuable to his ship. It is the exact upgrade material the pirate captain's data core flagged. The missing key for his ship's regeneration. She scanned the regional feeds and identified him as the only pilot within range. He has the talent and proven reliability. To attempt this crazy extraction, her offer is incredibly straightforward. He gets the medicine and trade rights to her future research outputs. In exchange, he must extract her vessel intact. A long silence passes. Star I runs the numbers, analyzing the drone signatures and the route. Her ship is sitting exactly 5 jumps away from his current position. The drone field is a notorious hazard, logged as a strict no-go zone. All past rescue attempts failed because the drones target engine signatures. They unleash kinetic strikes that easily overwhelm standard shield generators. But Star I is already analyzing their sweeping patterns. The drones follow a predictable algorithm, provided he can get enough signal samples. His turret has ammo for one major fight. The new shield holds at 12% of. Port side coverage, his hull sits at 38%, and the round-trip fuel cost is huge, consuming 60% of reserves. The math is barely possible with Star I's. Read, it is too risky without it. Any normal scavenger would refuse, but he is different. He is no ordinary scavenger. The medicine is worth it, and a research partnership is worth far more than any medicine. Beyond that, a connection with Park Eugene, if she is who she claims, opens up a whole layer of the information economy he does not have access to yet. Researchers in this galaxy trade in highly valuable knowledge that scavengers like him cannot otherwise find. Star I runs a quick deception check on Park Eugene's identity. Her signature matches her declared profile exactly, and distress on her ship is consistent with the drone field's known behavior. Her business offer terms are written in the careful style of an academic rather than a pirate. The probability of a bait trap is low but not zero. He files her under credible with margin and begins to consider. A second alert pings on his panel before he finishes. Star I flags it. The alien drone field is in motion, starting a slow sweep toward Park Eugene's hull. A countdown rolls in pale blue text, 45 minutes. Until first contact. At that point, the drones will reach her ship's outer perimeter. After that, rescue is impossible. The decision must be made right now. His hand rests on the comms. Fuel is 86%, shield is 12%, and the B rank turret only has ammo for one major battle. M. Dayoung's name sits in his Horde's data core, the pirate scout hiding behind the dust cluster, is watching his ship. The old pilot waits in the side broker hub while Coalbreaker is forming up as a fragile alliance. The medicine on Park Eugene's ship is the upgrade material. For his hull, he needs to push Rust Dark past 40% toward 50, 45. Minutes remain. The drone field sweeps forward slowly but steadily, while Park Eugene's vessel sits motionless in its path. His pod sits in the side broker hub's outer drift with engines cooled and ammunition fully counted. His fingers hover over the reply field, a simple yes or no. Saying yes commits him, burning 60% of his fuel. Saying yes risks the only shield he has, and spends his only major engagement his turret can handle. It pulls him out of the deception layer and gives the spy behind the dust cluster a clean scan of his exact destination. By saying yes, he invites Among's recruiting officer to read his next move in real time. Saying no keeps him safe, it keeps his horde secure. A refusal keeps the watcher confused, yet no lets a stranger die in a drone field with a vital medicine he will never get. Refusal closes the door on a partnership that would grant him access to alien materials analysis. The morning in this survival galaxy carries the count, 45 minutes. His hand stays on the comm. Before answering, he pulls a second, deeper read on Park Eugene's signature. Star Eye climbs the new level 2 scan field to reach her position. Cleanly, her research vessel shows damage consistent with a heavy kinetic strike. On the engine housing, this is no faked breakdown. 3 crew members register. On the manifest, all civilians with academic licensing tags that Star Eye can verify. Against the regional registry, 2 of the 3 are scanning the drone field continuously from inside her ship, trying to map the algorithmic sweep. Their work overlaps directly with what Star Eye is doing from his end. So Park Eugene is not bluffing. She is dying in real time, and her team is doing what scientists do in their final hours, which is to keep working. A new ping comes through Star Eye. Those drones in the field are not some recent deployment. Their sweep patterns show variance that suggests adaptive learning, meaning the field is intelligent in a limited algorithmic sense. Standard scanning handles cannot read it because the variance defeats standard scan resolutions. Star Eye at level 2 reads the variance like a fisherman reading the water. The drones can be predicted 3 sweeps in advance. Each sweep takes 90 seconds. Inside each sweep window, there is a 30-second corridor along the field's northern arc where drone density dips to a level his hull and shield can survive. The math checks out. Approach Park Eugene's vessel through the northern corridor during the sweep window 3 transition. Burnout through sweep window 4 before the adaptive layer recognizes his extraction pattern. The fuel cost is high. His shield will absorb at least 1 minor strike. His turret fire on 3 to 5 drones during the burnout. After the run, his ammunition will be depleted. His shield will be at 0, and his fuel will be at 26%. Survivable, doable. Starry writes the plan in pale blue. A deep breath leaves him. The plan exists. The cost is known. The reward includes the medicine, the partnership, the research vessel's future trade rights, and the alien materials analysis pipeline. Against that, the losses include his next 48 hours of safety and a clean exposure of his exact destination to the watcher behind the dust cluster. The old pilot pings before he commits. He has been watching his passive scan field through whatever back channel he has into Star Eye. 2 lines arrive. Park Eugene is real. She lost her brother to a pirate pack raid last cycle. Treat her well. The lines arrive with no payment requests, no trade, just information, so the old pilot vouches for her. That vouch carries serious weight. Starry marks Park Eugene's trust score upward. Coalbreaker pings second. He has read regional traffic and made an inference about his next move. His message is short: if you go, I will pull the watcher's attention with a fake burn on my end, costing you nothing. He is offering a free distraction. Coalbreaker is now investing in his alliance, so the relationship has moved from cautious trade to active cooperation in the span of 3 hours. Filing his offer with gratitude, he accepts. The cost on his end is small. On his end, the cost is 0. Deception layer will be reinforced through his fake burn. His finger hovers over the reply field. The choice is his alone. What would you do here? Starry writes the cost-benefit analysis one more time and then goes quiet. Around him, the cockpit lights hold steady. The B-rank turret cools at the weapon mount. A small shield generator hums softly along the port side. The ancient evolution core Breathe slow under the deck plates. Fuel is at 86, hull at 38, ammunition. As counted, Coalbreaker is waiting on a private channel, the old pilot watching from the side hub, the watcher behind the dust cluster, reading his regional traffic. Ndong's name, sitting in his horde's data core like a slow-burning fuse. Scientist he has never met is dying in a drone field 5 jumps away, 45 minutes. On her clock, a vial of medicine in her med locker that pushes Rust Ark's hull. Regeneration past its current cap, and one incredible partnership. He reviews the analysis. His exposed route will be read in real time. This is the first major engagement for his newly installed turret. He faces one defining decision as a captain in this dangerous galaxy, 45 minutes. He holds the key to this cliffhanger, outside the quiet cockpit window. The dust cluster hangs in the dark, a smudge of small particles. A pirate scout patiently watches his pod. Myung's hunters are circling. His used Tier 1 shield has only 12% port side coverage. His B-rank turret carries ammo for exactly one major firefight. Fuel reads 86% because the day's battles and scanning beacon drain the reserve. A scientist he has never met has trusted him with her life. She trusted him completely with her medicine and her future trade rights. Here is the catch: the watcher in the dust cluster logs his move. An old pilot's recommendation sits in his private channel, the Coalbreakers. Offered to distract, the watcher waits on a completely different channel. Saltlight's trade ledger sits ready, beside Inkwell's unanswered partnership offer. Threats from Gray Flint clutter his lower inbox like dead leaves. Vermilion's short, public threat broadcasts across the entire regional channel. A defeated pirate captain's escape pod tumbles with fading oxygen. Hovering over all of this is the terrifying name of Myung. The morning in this survival galaxy began with 3 pirate ships. He started with a weak laser, but earned a B-rank turret. He has a real shield and 3 days of trading funds. By evening, he became an information broker with a watcher behind him. Now night offers one decision: a scientist dies in 45 minutes. Staying means she dies, moving means the watcher reads his route. His entire survival over the next 48 hours relies on his 60-second reply. Fingers warm against the console as Star Eye calculates the cost-benefit. Then the system goes quiet and waits. Star Eye is never silent long. A pale red alert suddenly flashes across his visual interface. The Level 2 passive scanner has registered movement at the edge. Within 15 jumps, a second hostile signature has entered his regional. Star Eye runs identification on the fast combat scout ship. It is similar to Cho Du-hyun's design, but smaller and faster. Watch closely, this new scout is not the parked watcher. That one remains parked, but this second asset is actively moving. The captain sighs. Myung has officially escalated the situation. Hours after Cho Du-hyun's death, they have shifted from simple observation. The morning's kill bought him a watcher, and evening's reputation did this. The second piece is set. Star Eye reads the new scout's vector. The approach trajectory heading toward his coordinates is moderate, not aggressive. It is the speed of someone wanting to be seen rather than surprise. So the second scout is a pressure piece, not a strike vessel. Myung wants him to know he is being slowly squeezed. A pale blue timer ticks down. 8 hours remain. He has exactly 8 hours to be somewhere else. Somewhere unread, somewhere the second scout cannot recover position. Drone field extraction takes 3 hours round trip, burnout included. Add the sidebroker recovery time, and the deception layer resets. That leaves him exposed for roughly a 5-hour window. The math barely works. Coalbreakers must pull early attention. An old pilot network covers his return. The exposure is managed. The second scout's arrival actually pushes him to refuse the park. Eugene keeps him parked, but parked he is just a fixed coordinate,